Oh my God, welcome everybody to The Sharpe Way. I'm Larry Sharpe. Thank you so much for joining us this Monday evening. If you want to be part of the program, please do me a favor. Make that phone call 573-427-5463. If you like what you're hearing, you got to do me a bigger favor. You got to go head over to patreon.com/sharpeway. Support this show. Support what I'm doing here, giving you some awesome content so you can even listen to it, watch it, and call in and talk to the people you want to talk to. And here's the best part. I have the one, the only, the amazing Toure has joined me this evening.
Word, what's up, Larry? How you?
Yes, absolutely. He is the, what do they call you, the prophet of Philly, is that right?
Yeah, you should say the prophet of the subway because I sold a lot of stuff.
There we go. I love it.
A lot of things allegedly on them trains.
Allegedly, correct. Yeah, everything is allegedly. I'm very happy you made the trip from Philly here to New York City.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I want to really bring up an issue that I had to deal with when I was running, and you're doing such a better job than I was doing. I tried during my campaign last year to connect to the cities. I tried to connect to New York City. I tried to connect to the left. I tried to connect to my old communities, right? I mean, I was raised in the Bronx, right? I live in Queens. I tried to connect, and I did not do a good job at all. I mean, as a general rule, they ignored me. As a general rule, when I tried to talk to them, they didn't want to hear me. I did not do a good job. In fact, I'm from the Bronx, and it was literally my worst turnout. I got 0.7% in the Bronx.
Wow.
I did not do well at all. You're doing something right. Help me.
I think it's partially because you're way more professional than me.
I think you just insulted me.
No.
I think you just insulted me.
I mean, it's just, you know how Twitter used to be like, information and a joke here and there. Twitter's kind of like a bad joke spiraling out of control.
Okay.
America's like almost that circus right now. Mm-hmm. So my level of unprofessionalism in regards to just me being genuinely me, like sure. I don't know the parameters for, even a city council person. It's like at a certain point, at any given moment, if you disrespect me, social media, real life, whatever, I'm gonna disrespect you. Mm-hmm. I kind of enjoy it.
Right.
The unfortunate part or fortunate part is I'm from Philly. Philly people love the debauchery.
Yeah. No, I get you.
You know what I'm saying? We booed like Santa Claus. We booed like Beyonce.
Right, sure, okay.
You know what I'm saying? She came when the Sixers played the Lakers in the championship when Allen Iverson was there. Her and the two other girls from Destiny's Child, right?
No, it was Beyonce's Child.
That was completely what it was.
Exactly. So what it was. Yes, it was.
B had on a Kobe jersey, and Kobe's technically from Philly. She had on a Kobe.
I didn't even know that. He is, isn't he?
Yeah.
Okay.
She had on a Kobe jersey. The other two girls had on Sixers jersey, and they still got booed. That's just what it is.
Wow.
So there's a certain level of, and again, for people that don't know, I've spent years selling things on the trains in Philly, my own music, Tree, among other things on those trains. So I already had years and years and years of people going, oh, that's the guy I get my weed from. Oh, that's the guy I get...
Allegedly.
Right. That's the guy that I get, whatever from.
Right.
So there was already a connection.
Funny, you brought up a very good point, I left the Bronx when I was probably 11.
Okay.
So there's still a lot of, and I say it this way, there's a lot of ghetto in me. There still is, right? My father was raised in Brooklyn. I was raised in the Bronx. But as a teenager, I was on Long Island.
Yeah.
So I think that really affected me more because I was growing as a man on Long Island, right? I was in Suffolk County, right?
My whole
difference.
Teenage years when I was doing the most ignorance was, teenage. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like I left school. It was like, I'm not doing this. This is like, I ain't getting no money in here. So my floating around the neighborhood, even down to floating around, I used to take, right before I left school, I used to take tours of like City Hall. I would get blasted, right? And take tours of City Hall and Independence Hall because it's right downtown.
Sure. No, Philly has some amazing history. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's all there.
Yep.
And so I would come back to the hood and be like, yo, this dude William Penn was on this. And they'd be like, man, I'm not trying to hit. But because I was able to go there and come back and still translate it, that's one of the major, and I'm talking about all through my 20s.
You just hit exactly the issue, right? You translate.
Right.
You translate. You have a video on your Facebook page that talks about being a libertarian.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Everybody in the hood is pretty much libertarian. I mean, they just don't know the nomenclature, or they don't know what this political party is just as of yet. I mean, when you think about it, I mean, what, 1971, 72 is when the party was created. That's that's like their mom is older than that.
Right, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
yes. I'm older than that, damn it.
You get what I'm saying?
Yes, exactly.
And so with that being the case, it's like that demographic goes, when you explain it to them in a way like, yo, you don't really want the cops messing with you, right? Yeah, I would love to. What if I told you that there was a it's like 30 for 30 on ESPN. What if I told you?
Right.
What if I told you that there was a political party that kind of was in alignment with, yo, you going to be in control of you, other people going to be in control of them, people going to leave people alone, you just going to do your thing. Oh, sign me up. So for me, because there's a certain level of practicality and lack of collegeness to me, it's easier for me to translate the concept. And because I didn't just start studying this stuff like 2 weeks ago, even because I was a Republican for years. But before that, I was just reading everything, and I'm like, who's this dude, Fried Man? And, you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
and then I'm like, oh, it's Friedman. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And then I meet his son, and his son's telling me stuff, and all of this other stuff. So I have years of just stuff that I was just poking through.
So let me go to that piece you just mentioned. How does someone like you, growing up where you grow up, how do you become Republican when your whole world's screaming at you to be Democrat? Because your whole world's yelling at you to be Democrat. How'd you become Republican?
They was yelling at me from not the people. It's like people that go to church. They don't really go to church. They go to church on Sundays. They don't really live it.
Right.
And when it's time to vote, they vote this way. But they're not really living in principle, so they wasn't really yelling it at me. And because I always allegedly sold weed, it was like, you can't really argue with me. I remember this one time, my teacher used to tell me, yo, you know,
this is high school, junior high school?
High school.
What? High school, okay.
Miss Ireland.
Okay.
She used to tell me like, yo, you know, whatever you're doing, it's not okay. And in my mind, I'm like, you tripping. Like, this is business. And so I remember one time I was in a grocery store, and Miss Ireland was in front of me in a grocery store, and her card was declined. And I went in my pocket and paid for her groceries. With cash. And so what happened was,
a horrible story. But
but the twist was, after that, she never gave me any more problems about that. So it's the same thing. The people in my hood wouldn't never give me that pushback, because it was like, okay, we either probably gonna try to get some weed with him, we're gonna smoke with him, or he doesn't seem to be having any of the issues that we have. Even when I got a job at Foot Locker, I was still, you know, doing what I was doing, and at the same time, I'm working on commission in Foot Locker. So I'm still making more money than y'all. Right. So it was like, it never really, the demographic is only that way, like some religious people are only that way on a day that's designated for them to be that way. And so it's not really a practical part of their life. They just say it when it's like, I'm Christian, I'm Muslim, I'm whatever. No, you're not. You didn't even read the book. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't even like go through the book. You know, like the pull quotes.
Yeah, no, I get you.
You know what I'm saying? And so because of that, it was like the same thing. It was like they say they this thing, but I'm going to these places, and I'm coming back again since high school. I'm like, yo, you know that right up the street, like they wrote this whole thing called the Constitution, and they like, yeah, whatever. But they like, yo, but Maj do kind of be on that.
But there's the issue, you know, when I got out of high school, I joined the Marine Corps. Yeah. When I was a kid, my parents were very simple. They were like, Democrats good, Republicans bad. Yeah. That was it. That's what you just knew. That's how it was. I assumed that to be true because I didn't know any better. Right. So I was like, okay, I guess that's true. Right. Then I joined the Marine Corps. Marine Corps is a very conservative branch of the military. Yep. Right? Very conservative. My first commander-in-chief is Ronald Reagan.
Get out of here.
Yep. My first commander-in-chief, Ronald Reagan.
Let that coke in here.
So all of a sudden at that point, I'm thinking, okay, so maybe I'm more right than I am left.
Larry,
I don't know.
Wait,
maybe I am. That's what I started thinking.
Was that really your first Ronald Reagan?
Yes. I joined the Marine Corps 1985.
Yo.
Yes. I joined the Marine Corps 1985. It's correct.
All right, go ahead.
Yes. Ronald Reagan is my first. Yes. I know I look like a young man because I'm so handsome, but I'm in my 50s. I am. It's true. I'm in my 50s, but I am a very handsome man, and it makes me look younger. But that was my first commander-in-chief. So I think I started to believe I was more right than I was left. Yeah. But to be fair, I didn't really know what that meant, right? I was not politically active. I didn't know policies. So I just thought, I guess that's what I am because the people around me were that, right? My politics as a youngster was really the people around me, right?
Tribal.
That's what exactly, 100%.
Right.
My parents were Democrats, so I guess I was Democrat. I didn't join the party, but I guess I was.
Right.
Most of my friends in the Marine Corps were Republican, so I guess I was Republican, but I didn't join the party. I just assumed that's what I was.
Right.
And then as I got older, I hated them both.
Right.
And I just became I'm not them. I supported Nader because Nader wasn't them. I supported Perot because Perot wasn't them. I couldn't have given you a policy. I still don't know their policies.
I just know y'all are not like what I'm seeing on these two sides.
That's correct. And I also felt betrayed, right? I thought when I first joined the Marine Corps that Ronald Reagan was awesome.
Nah.
That is correct, but that's what I believed.
Right.
Right? And I also learned something else. I learned that there really is value to having literally a life where everything is black and white.
Yeah.
I remember being a Marine, maybe 18, 19 in that area, something like that. And I was the guy, believe it or not. And if you know me now, my policies, I'm a total pacifist. I do not want to fight wars. I was the kid who wore the shirt, kill them all, let God sort them out.
Yeah.
That was me.
Right.
I was that guy, right? You got to kill. Remember, I was a Cold Warrior, so I was still fighting the Soviets,
right?
When I was in the Marine Corps, we were still
empire.
The evil empire. I was still fighting Soviets, right?
Right.
When I was a teenager, right? So at this point, I'm thinking everyone who's a communist is evil, everyone who's a Russian is evil, and America's always right. My country, right or wrong. I'm still thinking that, right? I'm still believing that. Life was easier then for me.
Oh yeah,
it was much easier.
Yeah, and that's the reason why there's difficulty with the Libertarian Party. Because there's such gradation.
Absolutely,
you got people from the lowercase L all the way to ANCAP.
Yep.
So it's almost like there's a left and a right in one party.
There's no doubt there is.
You get what I'm saying?
100%.
And
yes.
so it makes it more difficult. Even me coming in, I'm like, all right, I'm one of my favorite hip hop artists, Big Boy from Outkast.
Absolutely.
Libertarian for 20-something years.
100%.
And in my mind, I'm like, yo, why he don't say this more? And as I'm in it, I'm like, oh.
That's why.
Well, this is why.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Look,
and so it's that absolutely is easier to just go, yo, am I Crippin' or am I Blood?
Absolutely.
Am I Republican or am I Democrat?
Way easier.
Way easier.
It is, 100%. It's harder to not do that. And I think you find that because the party also, look, I'm a big L Libertarian. I support the party. Been a member since 2012. I'm not going anywhere. But God damn it, you Libertarians drive me crazy.
Yeah.
There's no doubt they do.
Yo,
I love them. They're my brothers and sisters, and they drive me crazy.
You know what is funny about it, though? I got a hashtag where I be like, hashtag Operation Toughen Up Libertarians.
Okay.
Because to me, it's like, yo, philosophically, sharp, no pun intended. You know what I'm saying?
It's the sharp way. I'm with you. Keep going.
It's the complete sharp way.
That's right, yes.
And it's like, you guys are really, really smart, but my friends don't care about how smart you are. And all of that, what you saying on the internet, like in real life, I give open, and this is not threatening, I give open invitation. I say exactly where I'm going. I was just around the corner at this Thai spot, right? I say, yo, I'm going to be right here in your city at this time. My exact location is here. All of that internet talk, say stuff, I think that there's a philosophical sparring that goes on, but I think that like, I don't live my life just on the internet. And I think when we infuse more urban, hard work, not that libertarians are lazy, let me be clear about that, but like more blue collar, quote unquote, like I don't really care, we can get in a fight and have a drink later. When we infuse more of that into the Libertarian Party, we win. Right now, we're the third largest political party in the country. We're on a precipice, if that's the correct way of explaining
Keep going.
Of getting to the second, if not the first position. One, because more and more people are like you were, in the sense of, wait, she was trash and he was trash.
Yep.
So wait a minute, like what am I actually doing? So for people like you and me, it's like, well, duh.
Yep.
Right? And then I think more and more people, the Blexit, that term, nobody said the Blexit had to only be to the Republican Party.
Absolutely. I'm with you.
You know what I'm saying?
But here's the problem that I had, right? I still have it. The left didn't want to talk to me at all in a campaign. At all. My team was reaching out to the left. I was reaching out to the left. I still reach out to the left all the time. I do talk. I did a show the other day all about poverty. I did an entire 2 hours on poverty, talking about left issues. I did it all. And the left won't even respond to my text, my emails, my team reaching out. They won't respond. The right responds. So it made my campaign look like it was a whole lot further left. I mean, a whole lot further right than it actually was. It wasn't actually that right of a campaign if you actually look at my policies. It wasn't that right, but only the right would talk to me. So I kept talking about right issues because they were open to
talking
talk.
to me, right.
The rest wouldn't talk. I still struggle.
So we initially had that, right? And then I just started calling it what it is. You people on the left, like I'll give you a perfect example. Charlemagne the God tweeted. I did Van's a buddy of mine. I've done his over at the TMZ building. I've done the Red Pill podcast. Charlemagne after that did the Brilliant Idiots and said, "Yo, I heard the guy from Black Guns Matter on Van. And I thought it was amazing." And he even tweeted, "Yo, I would love to have him on." And then the brakes got pumped. To me, that seems like, if I'm thinking it from a military scientific standpoint, it's somebody above your pay grade was like, absolutely not.
That's correct. Yes.
Absolutely not.
Yep.
The reason why is because you can't, it's almost like, look, we want these people on the left. You're going to make too much sense. And the only reason why I'm getting some sort of a little bit more left-leaning locally is one, because all of the hoods still bang on me because they used to cop off me.
Right, sure.
And two, I like Trump in a way, like all of this is entertainment to me. If this all falls, I'm going to sell weed. That's it.
Right.
I'm going to sell tree and make, at a light year, I'll make $200,000-$300,000 a year in profit. I'm cool with that, right? But
I'm not letting you go. Sorry.
Right.
I'm just saying. I'm not letting you go.
Listen, Larry.
I'm just not.
A couple of weeks ago, I was like, yo, I called some people in in Cali and different libertarians like, yo, what are the ramifications of me just leaving this campaign right now? And it was like, wait, what
Absolutely.
What are you doing?
Nope.
And I'm like, nah, I'm just thinking about it. And it's like, but easy doesn't necessarily mean worth it.
That's correct.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And so the only reason why, so I run into that, and then you'll hear people saying, well, you're probably financed by the NRA and financed by Breitbart. No, NRA TV 2 years ago, okay, I could get on their show because I was talking about guns.
Right.
Breitbart is like, this dude saying the stuff that we had been saying, so let's give him the lane. So then people that, like a Sean King, who jumps into my Instagram stories and my lives every now and then, don't really interact. One, you can't really out-argue me. And you see that, okay, he's kind of not really just a right-wing puppet. I'm like, you ever see that show Rick and Morty?
Sure.
Remember when he told when his grandchildren were unsure, and in order to get them sure, he was like, "Listen, I hate you both."
I remember
equally.
That. Yes, he literally did the
whole
whiteboard.
Right. Let me tell you why. Both of you
something like you're both a piece of shit or something like that.
You're
yes,
both
I
a piece
remember.
of shit.
That's
I don't
right.
care about
Yes,
either.
I remember
so
that.
be
yes.
very, very clear that.
So you watch Rick and Morty too. All right.
Absolutely.
So you cannot leave. You cannot leave the party.
Right.
Done. You are in here. Yes.
So it's the same thing, but the only thing that makes, again, like I said earlier, you're more professional and you have more knowledge and more seasoning than I do.
Well, I got about 20 years on you.
Right.
So it's all right. 20 years from now, you'll be like me, all boring and shit.
It's on the way.
You'll be
so
like me.
That's the only thing. But now what I'm noticing is, and I think it's the evolution, neither the right or the left are talking to me now.
Yeah.
But that's fine because neglect becomes my ally.
I agree. Let me grab a call if I can.
Sure.
I want to grab a call. I have someone from Texas is going to be talking to us this evening. Clarence is on the line. Clarence, how are you, my friend?
Oh, hey, Larry and Maj, how are y'all?
I'm good. What's up?
Hey, so just a quick question. I'm currently reading what was it? Black Rednecks and White Liberals and Please Stop Helping Us and I even read Negroes and the Gun.
Yep.
But I'm trying to figure out like what. I actually have two questions. What other books should I be reading to like expand my mind, not just on guns, but just to just open my mind, like philosophically and everything like that, politically.
So I'll give you a good rundown. Have you ever read the Autobiography of Malcolm X?
No.
You gotta read that. Malcolm X is like a father to me. Like his ability to continue to evolve and consistently evolve, I thought was dope. So in the practical sense of seeing somebody go from, being just a hood dude that with no potential, to being like about to take the United States government to court, the international court, for their unfair treatment towards melanated beings in the nation. That's a huge step for someone that went from understanding race and being affected by race, to someone calling out the truth without being moved or identified as a racist. I think that was dope. And I just think he was G. Like, when they played them tapes back, like, he never stepped out on his lady.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because he was.
They couldn't get dirt on him.
They couldn't get dirt on him.
Yeah.
And I did Kibby's show, and he asked me and was like, "Yo, who?" I'm like, Malcolm. I couldn't find his contradiction in that regard. So that's one book.
But when he did, he was actually changing.
Right.
When he contradicted his past, it's because he had evolved and changed.
To the next thing.
That's correct. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's one book, The Autobiography of Malcolm X, and I think that you should read like the ISIS papers. I think that you should read Mein Kampf by Hitler. I think that you should read African Holistic Health by Laila Africa. And I think you should read Modern Money Mechanics. I forget who wrote the book, but that's the book that the Fed wrote on how they create money out of thin air. So those are books: The Autobiography of Malcolm X, African Holistic Health, Mein Kampf by Adolf Hitler, African Holistic Health is by Laila Africa, Modern Money Mechanics, and I think you should. And that'll get you right until the end of 2020. But study them though. Don't just like you got to have like highlighters and like ink pens and
So let me ask you, Clarence, what are you trying to achieve when you ask to read? What are you trying to do? Just be entertained? Are you trying to be a better person? Are you trying to understand a certain aspect of our country? What are you trying? What's your goal?
All of the above, to be honest.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that'll give you a good one. Read Hitler to see how somebody could take over the world damn near. And look into Hitler because he wasn't a no dummy, and I won't be very clear about that. I think Hitler did he did horrible things.
Don't forget, Hitler was Austrian, not German.
Right. You're right.
He was Austrian.
With that being the case, it's not an accident that he went into get an Adinkra symbol, or what we identify as an African symbol for some power. So he wasn't that dumb. And there was a quote by Hitler that said when he had a army of, I think, maybe 3 or 4 million men. He said, I have an army of however many million men, but I trade them all for 10,000 Africans with the knowledge of themselves. So he wasn't a dummy in that regard. So you see what power can do and what power, as a cautionary tale too.
Well, there's an issue though with when you look at something like Mein Kampf.
Yeah.
I think there's an air of boldness.
Yeah.
In that I think sadly too many people want to follow. People want to follow the bold.
Right.
It's a common thing, and you'll hear me say this often. Human beings are at the top of the food chain, with one exception. We have one great predator, and that predator is the charismatic sociopath.
Right.
The charismatic sociopath is the greatest human predator.
Right.
Right, and they are responsible for literally tens of millions
of deaths.
Right. The mosquito kills about 1 million. Humans every single year. That's our number one animal predator, right? But that's a parasite,
right?
But and I don't. Maybe you would consider them parasites too. Depends how you look at that, right?
Right.
But the sociopath kills tens of millions,
right?
I mean,
easy.
And destroys families and destroys systems,
right? And
destroys so much. So I think the value of that. If you're looking at that one, is another book that's similar to that, which you don't have to read the Mein Kampf if you have a philosophical issue with reading it, and that's a book called The 48 Laws of Power.
Yeah.
Robert Greene, a Brooklynite. Right. He's a Brooklynite. A small Jewish kid.
Yeah.
Right. Wrote the 48 Laws of Power, and now you find the thug culture loves it.
Right.
So it's amazing.
It's because I think some of them books, right? Like I've touched the 48 Laws of Power. I think some of them books is there. It's like a Sith handbook, and it's like it's put there to make people not use it. Like, so for example, me reading Mein Kampf is the cautionary tale.
Yes, you're using it for defense, not for offense.
Right, and I think some people get a hold of them books and they like, oh, I'm a harm everybody.
This is why I'm not sure that somebody wants to have a book Mein Kampf in their hand while they're walking around high school.
Right, like
it's probably not a good idea,
right?
I maybe the weird part about 48 Laws of Power, I'm the only person I know who's actually read the entire thing.
Yeah,
everyone else who's read it has never actually finished it. But the 48 Laws of Power is, to your point, it's not. You shouldn't be using it on how to take over the world because it's all about horrible short-term victories. Right? Long-term victories, if you care about anyone to actually look at when it comes to long-term victories, there are two people who I think have two of the best success stories, Gandhi and Mandela.
Yeah.
Right. You look at Nelson Mandela and Gandhi, and many libertarians get mad because these people were socialists, right? So they get mad when I say this. But whether you like their politics or not, these are two men who said, it doesn't matter if it takes decades.
Yeah.
I will still forgive my enemy.
I'm never doing that.
I will. Yep, I know, but that's what they did. They would still forgive their enemies
Right.
and try to actually heal a nation.
Now that part, I'm
right. They are trying to do that.
Right. I'm a heal the nation. I have not evolved, and it's evolving, depending on how you look at it.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yes.
I'm not in a space where it's like the shorty that killed both of them, Gene, in Texas, down in Texas.
Yep.
Right. And immediately, right at the verdict, everybody's like the judge, the sheriff, and like the brother are like, yeah, like give her some hug and some love. It's like, nah, I'm just not in that space.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll ever evolve to that.
Let
space.
me touch that in two eras. Two parts. One is, I hope that if that ever happened to me, that someone came into a loved one's house and killed my loved one, I would hope that I could be as amazing as the brother was and forgive that person. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I could do it. I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I could. But I would hope that I could do so. I would hope I could be that person to say, you made an error, I forgive you. I would hope I could, because that to me is amazing. That's Daryl Davis-like, right?
Yeah.
That's forgiving, and I want to be that guy.
I don't.
However, there's a however piece. I do want to be that guy. I do. Because if I can forgive that person, I can forgive anyone.
Yeah.
And
I can see
I want to be that guy. I do.
I want to be that guy.
But let me keep going.
Go ahead.
At the same time, no one else should be forgiving. It is that brother's prerogative to forgive if that brother wants to.
I can see that.
Because that's his
Yeah,
brother.
That's his right, right.
But it's not the judge's place
Right.
or the jury's
Right.
place or the fellow cop's place.
Right.
It's not their place to do that.
Right.
Right? And I would ask people, people tell me, well, you know what, that 10 years, it's fair. I've heard that before. And I say, okay, I hear what you're saying. They say, well, it's a mistake. Okay. And I say the same thing I say about Philando Castillo.
Right.
And the same thing is, just imagine if it was reversed.
Right.
Imagine if it was a black man, legally owned his firearm,
Right.
legally carrying,
Right.
walks into an apartment, thinks it's his own, and shoots a white woman. Cop.
His hair,
Life.
He's going to jail. His
Life.
hair going to be long as Methuselah.
Life. He's never getting out.
Like,
Yeah.
that's it.
Life. No one's forgiven him.
And that's part
no
of
one's doing anything.
That's part of the reason why, to me, when things like that happen, I'm cool with filling my heart with hate and like letting that be, because like in the middle of a war, like there's a like, so for example, there's a war, and on one level it's like, okay, and there is an intellectual and war on like certain freedoms and liberties.
Sure.
Right? So I did the thing in Chicago yesterday, and Gifford, the guy, definitely didn't want to shake my hand. When I'm like, nah.
What thing in Chicago? Tell me, give us what that is.
So I'm in Chicago yesterday, or day before yesterday, and we did, The Economist did a round table, a panel on gun control and how to make, the streets safer, so forth and so on. And for whatever reason, they decided that they were going to put like 4 people against me, including the moderator.
Okay.
I'm like, all right, well.
That's not uncommon.
It's not uncommon. And I'm like, okay, y'all want to even the odds for yourself. I'm not
Got it.
tripping.
Yep.
So I go through there, we do the thing, and one of the first things that, they're talking about was AR buybacks. And I told the young man, I said, yo, that's the silliest thing in the world. You can't buy something back that you never owned, 1. 2, that's just a cute way of saying confiscation.
That's correct.
And so he says this, and I'm like, listen, my Jewish friends, who I have a lot of, they off top are like, absolutely not.
Yes.
Absolutely not.
I live in New York City. I have my Jewish friends also. I totally get that.
The guy, Gifford, says, I don't want to hear NRA talking points. And I'm like, well, first of all, I'm not a member of the NRA. My organization is called Black Guns Matter. And so in that moment, we can have a spirited, it's me versus you. And at the time, I still go, when the moderator's like, oh, well, wait, let's not yell. I'm like, no. We just having a passionate discussion.
Right.
These are my brothers. This is still my sister. And I'll shake their hand. Now, if those individuals in that space, so that's a form of, they didn't do anything to me, so I can still be cordial and we still just playing chess and you just on the other side of the chessboard. But one point where it's you've identified yourself as my actual enemy.
let me touch that. Hold on, Clarence. Did we answer your question, Clarence?
Yeah.
Oh yes, but I have one more. But
Okay.
I mean,
You got one more? Then hold on for a second. I want to let people know if you want to join the program, no worries. You want to be cool like Clarence and talk to us, you can be cool just like Clarence. No problem. 573-427-5463. Also, if you like what's going on, you enjoy this conversation, you like the fact you can call and talk to us, you know what? Support us. Head on over to patreon.com/Sharpeway and give what you can give. And if you do give enough, you get cool swag, just like this.
Yeah, I'm taking this cup.
Exactly. He's taking a cup. Absolutely. Cool swag.
Taking a
So
cup.
guys, go ahead, make sure, support us. It's important to make that happen. All right. Let me touch that piece you just mentioned.
Yeah.
When we do that and call someone our enemy and retain them as an enemy, more people die.
Yeah.
We feel righteous. I get it, but more people die. And Mandela is an example of what he said was basically the idea that, look, the system's the problem.
Agreed.
Right? The system's the problem. So we got to make sure that we change the system. And most people responded to the system they were in. That's why you had black freedom fighters killing white people. That's why you had white cops killing black people. Not because white people are bad, not because black people are bad, but because the system put them in that situation. That was his logic.
Now,
Now, hold on, let me finish.
Go ahead.
There were absolutely bad people on both sides of that did bad things. Absolutely. But most people respond to a system. And you might say, but Larry, that's not righteous enough because those bad guys have to be punished. You could do that. But to do that, you have to crush an entire system. And let me give you the best example I can give you, Rwanda. Rwanda, you remember in the 90s, horrible civil war. Over 1 million people killed. And most of it close up with machetes.
Right.
Not even distance. I mean close up, hacking people up, horrible.
Right.
What they had to do to heal those wounds, they literally had to have apology courts. Now, the apology courts weren't a perfect example. They weren't perfect. They had failures and they had vendettas still. But it was the only way they could heal their nation by having people say literally things like, I'm sorry I hacked your sister to death.
Yeah.
Now, should that guy go to jail? You would say, of course he does. Are you going to put 1 million of your men in prison? Is that what you're going to do
America
forever?
Does.
That's a
And
bad
your point.
idea too.
Right, and
that's
your
exactly
point.
a bad
Right,
idea.
right.
And Rwanda has a whole lot less people than America does.
Right.
And you just had a civil war, and you just had 1 million dead. You can put another 1 million in prison, and to pay for that, and 1 million to watch them. You can't do it.
So look, you can't, Larry. But listen, now we gotta make it real practical again.
Let's make it
Now,
practical.
I can diagnose and go, you as the police officer, the particular corrupt police officer, right? You did this wrong thing. You as an individual were tied to a system that incentivizes you doing things wrong.
Absolutely.
That's the diagnosis. And if you try to come shoot me, or if you shoot me, if I don't get to my firearm first and defend my life, it's gonna be forever fuck you. Me as an individual. You like, I'm never going to like the Dallas Cowboys as an Eagles fan. It's never gonna happen. Like, I was raised right as a Philadelphia.
I was raised right.
You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm making light of it, but if it's something, if I feel that way, and it's rivalry, I'll still kick it with my Dallas homies, my Texas homies, whatever. But I'm never wearing a Dallas Cowboys jersey in that sense. So if it's that level for that, I cannot have a until it's righteous again. Now I can start.
But how are you going to hold on to that?
I could start the forgiveness process after the healing has happened.
Aren't they the same?
No.
You're telling me
If Malcolm said, if you stab me in the back and the blade is in my back and it's in 6 inches, you pull it out 3, the knife is still in my back.
Agreed.
I can't forgive you. Now it's starting to heal because you're pulling it out. It's not touching the same nerve. But until it's out, healed, you're the fuck away from me. You're in jail for stabbing me in the back, and some time has gone on. I'm not first I got to heal from the trauma, and that's individualistic. I can't. It's almost like, to me, Stockholm syndrome-ish for me to start thinking about forgiving you before my back has even started thinking about healing.
And
until then, it's fuck you.
I get where you're going, and what I'm telling you is, if someone stabs me in the back, and this is LP stuff right here. I say this all the time. You're going to run LP, you're going to get stabbed in the back.
Yeah,
guaranteed that it's going to happen. I don't know how many times I've been treated worse by libertarians than other party people, hands down. Democrats just ignore me. They just ignore me. They completely ignore me.
Right.
Republicans are disrespectful to me. They can be cruel initially, but then they walk away. But libertarians will just hammer me constantly. They will look through my social media, ignore every good thing I've ever posted, find one thing they disagree with.
Oh my God!
Put it on blast and call me the worst person on the planet. Oh my God, he's horrible, worst guy. And constantly, right? Yeah. And what I've said is, if you want to run, you've got to be able to take that knife in the back, pull it out yourself.
Yeah.
Give it back to that person and say, "I'm sorry, I believe this is your property."
Or.
And when you can do that, what happens almost always is they take the knife and go, "Oh, that didn't work."
No, now,
and they don't stab you again.
So
now someone else will stab you, but that person won't.
So all right, so okay, I could get with that analogy, right?
Yeah.
Now, in that space, to me, that person isn't actually a actual enemy to me yet. Like all of these,
they try to stop me from getting donations. They try to stop me from getting votes. They tell libertarians in New York State to vote for other people.
Right.
Literally.
Right.
And they call themselves libertarians. Right. And they literally tell people in my state to vote for someone else.
All right, so look. I think that those people are clowns, right? So, yes, even me. People are like, "Oh, he shouldn't be the national speaker at the national convention, blah, 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 blah." And I'm like, bro, I'm just trying to I want more people into the party.
Yep.
Right? I think those people I still don't identify as enemies.
Good. Okay.
My definition of enemy.
Then we're good then. Then we're good.
Yeah. My definition of enemy is like after a few shootouts, like somebody saying something is like,
yes.
It's like, all right, come on, bro. Like you just saying stuff.
All right.
My girl says stuff.
Let me get to Clarence's second question. Clarence, go ahead.
Oh yeah, so the last question is so it's directed towards both of y'all, but this is originated from Maj's Instagram. I follow him on Instagram, and I saw that you posted was it like a submission is not an American character trait?
Yeah,
100% agree. But what gets me is that I'm seeing all these new creative ways to get around the NFA, and I mean, like, they're all legal, but it's like, why are they encouraging compliance to tyranny? Creating or finding creative ways to be compliant isn't sticking it to the man. It only prolongs the encroachment.
Right. Okay.
So
I get you.
So like I'm seeing all these people saying, oh, like, screw the NFA, like, repeal the NFA, and they're calling all these old white dudes, who are FUDs, who only care about, like, I don't know, like, double-barrel shotguns and bolt-action revolvers, but they ain't doing anything themselves.
No, I get it. Clarence, I get you. Let him answer. Let Maj answer. Go ahead, Maj.
I get you. And part of that is because they think that that's a form of rebellion. It's like, okay, while I'm rebellion, I'm going to do this thing. It's like that movie, Lord of War, where, okay,
Nicolas Cage, right?
Nicolas Cage. Mm-hmm. He was selling weapons, but he knew all of the rules, and so he was selling a helicopter, and it was a helicopter that was designed for destruction. But if the missiles went separate from the actual helicopter, he was in no violation of United Nations treaty rules, right? So it was like, okay, now you can't even actually arrest me for this. You know what I mean? And even though Ethan Hawke's character, which was the Interpol was like, you know what you're doing with this? He's like, yeah, no, this is a humanitarian helicopter, and I'm well within the rules. So on one level, I see why they do that way. It's no different than,
well, they also you don't want to be an unnecessary martyr, Clarence.
Yeah,
right. You don't want to be a martyr to where your martyrdom gets you nothing.
Nothing,
right? I mean, literally, the jails are full of martyrs that have changed nothing. Right? You don't want to be that guy. If I'm going to be a martyr, I want there to be a value to my martyrdom, whether that's me doing prison time or me taking a bullet or whatever that thing is.
A Mandela.
Yes, I want to be a martyr for a reason.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense to do it for nothing.
Now, to the other side to that, though, I think you almost kind of have to do both. Like, Now that comes into political organizing, social organizing, financial organizing. If you organize and say, we do as Americans nationwide do not want the NFA. Any politician or businesses that support and donate to politicians that are in support of continuing with the NFA, we are not going to finance that business, that politician. We're going to vote them out, so forth and so on. That's called work and actual politics and organizing. Mm-hmm. So I think you, on one hand, say, yo, I'm not cool with this, so I'm doing it this way, and I'm not going to jail. And we're going to collectively, at the same time, organize to overturn this thing. I think when you do one, it's like guys that be like, I'm still going to carry in Walmart, even though they saying they don't want me to open carry, I'm going to conceal carry. Or you can write a letter to Walmart and say, me and my 1,000 people from my city would have loved to spend money in Walmart, but because you guys are so anti-freedom, we're taking our money over to Target.
There we go. I love it.
You know what I'm saying? So it's a balance there. And I believe that doing both are important, but just doing one and just making yourself a martyr or just going, yeah, I'm going to open carry in Walmart, even though that's their rule and that's their private property. You know what I'm saying? They have the right to be like, sir, we want you to leave. And then you want to make and that's that martyr for nothing thing. Yep. So it's a balance there. And I think so those are the reasons. But I think when you see people that are going around that rule, I think the teachable moment there is to get that person to go, okay, you're doing that part, but now what are you doing on the other side? And just introducing both sides to the other side. I think that helps.
Clarence, did he answer your question?
Oh, yes, sir.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate the call.
Of course. Thanks for talking to me,
Of
man.
course.
Thanks now.
Look, I want to grab another call if I can.
Yeah,
Clarence was amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you, Clarence, for calling. But I don't want him to hog everything up. I want to talk, if I could, to Ashley from Massachusetts. Ashley, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Talk to me.
How are you, Larry? Hi, Larry. Hi, Maj.
What up?
So I have a question for you, Maj. Recently, there was a post on social media with you
Here it comes.
defending yourself against a donor that we have where you used a lot of vulgar and homophobic language.
Wrong.
And I was wondering why you felt the need to use such language and if you felt that maybe you should apologize for the language as it offended a lot of our base.
No.
Hold on. Let me touch this piece. This is important, Ashley. I'm glad you brought this up. There's an issue that I really want to bring up here. This is really important, which I have not heard people talk about. When you run for office, as we talked about before, we get hammered all the time. We get hammered from people around us. We get hammered by our donors. We get beaten up. Mm-hmm. And the person that Mosh is talking about goes out of his way to tell people he doesn't like that they can't win. Now, you might say he has every right to do so. And he does. There's no question. He can do that. He has every right to do so.
Freedom.
The point is, why must he do it constantly? I've had to tell this person to his face, stop it. Every time you say that, you actually hurt the hundreds of people who are in my campaign busting their ass and sacrificing.
Right.
It is unnecessary to do that. And what does that mean? It makes the candidate angry, particularly when it's someone who's supposed to be on his side.
Right.
It feels like a backstab. It feels like betrayal. It feels nothing but bad and horrible. That's how it feels. And when that happened to me multiple times from the same donor, I said nothing. I told him personally, I let it go. When it happened to Maj, he put it out on Facebook, but did not out the donor. He simply said, this happened to me. He vented his frustration, which I understood immediately, and I felt nothing but empathy and even sympathy because I've been there before.
Right.
Then that donor outed him, insulted him. Now, I want to be clear. Insulted and outed a libertarian who was currently running about 30 days out from election.
Right.
Did that. Unacceptable, 100% unacceptable. And insulted, and look at what he wrote, the 700 other people who are running. He openly insulted 700 people who are sacrificing their lives, their time, their money, their energy to run in this political party, knowing they're probably going to lose, knowing there will be no good outcome. And he outed all of them and insulted them all. Why is no one saying, how dare he? I'm saying, how dare he? What I heard from the LNC was things like this. Well, our donors are important. Our donors are important. Absolutely. I say it. I ask money all the time. They are important. But we don't magically get new donors. We get new donors when we have good candidates and good activists.
Right.
Right? In my view, the Liberty Movement is split into two. Many people will disagree with me on this, but I believe it is. There's the Liberty Movement and the Libertarian Party. That's how I see it. People disagree. That's how I see it. In the Libertarian Movement, number one is activists. Number one. Number two is donors. If you've got good, powerful activists, we'll get more donors.
Right.
If you've got good, powerful activists. In the party, the candidates are number one. If you've got good candidates, you'll get more donors. I do not think that we should be fighting at all.
Right.
I want us to remain brothers and sisters, and you know that's true.
Right.
But I also have to be clear. This is not one-sided.
Right.
In any way, shape, or form. And I want to make sure that part is clear.
Right.
Go ahead, Mosh.
So I'll say this about that scenario. Just like I just said, if you identify yourself as my enemy or do things like, I'm from Philly, I don't give a fuck about your money. I don't. We've raised almost $250,000 doing the work with Black Guns Matter before this. Not one donor in 3 years of fundraising felt disrespected. I never did it because not any of those donors were like, you know what? I'm not going to donate to Black Guns Matter because I don't think the niggers can shoot. Like, none of that happened.
Right.
So just magically this, and if you're following me on social media, when people that had nothing to do with the Libertarian Party say disrespectful things to me, everybody knows what I'm going to say.
Absolutely, yes.
Everybody knows Maj is going to be like, yo, eat a dick. That's just it. Now, I want to touch on something that she said in regards to it was homophobic. One, you don't know my family members that are transgender. You don't know my interactions with like Piper Smith, who's like a transgender that apologized to me a few weeks ago in Phoenix. Yo, you said some things, and I'm noticing, I'm learning, interacting with more people from Philly. And Philly, how we greet each other. What's up, dickhead? That's a greeting for people that we love. So if the Libertarian Party,
what about her she's a valid concern, though, right? Her valid concern is
or are you just saying homophobic stuff?
Yes, that people are gonna think that you're either homophobic or anti-gay or this. People who see this are going to think that. So
no, like I mean, I don't know. Like, at what point, where did we become in a space where Louis C.K. had it's like it's almost weird. Like, comedians seem to get it. Louis C.K. had a joke. Dave Chappelle has a joke. Bill Burr has a joke. It's like, yo, because I'm saying something aggressive does not mean I'm trying to attack you. I'm just going, I would give you the same energy that when I'm talking to my yo, bro, you being a real dick smoker right now. Like, you got to cool out. You know what I mean? These are things I'm actually talking to you as my same peer group and not treating you different. I'm not treating you different because I'm not looking at you different. So when people go, oh, you're homophobic, it's like, no, at a certain point, like you said, if you're scrolling through and looking for a reason or a thing that, oh, he said this, so this is what he must mean. As if I was like, God hates the gays. Like, that's not what type time I'm on. Like, and what world, how would that make sense? And the only time that happens is, again, I've said the same exact thing about anybody that was being a jerk. For 4 years doing the work with Black Guns Matter, I've conducted myself, and I welcome anybody, if you want to scroll through my social media for a few years back, I've been the same exact person the entire time. Magically, none of my other donors that I've raised $250,000 through thumb work and blood, sweat, and tears and going around the country, amazingly not one of those donors felt like, oh, you're saying anything homophobic or just being a jerk for no reason. I don't start problems with anybody. We deal in conflict resolution, but I have no problem. I'm not gonna back down. I'm not gonna. And I think.
Hold on. Let me get Ashley. Is he answering your question or no? If he isn't, please say it.
So in this context, just so you know, Maj, I'm a big follower of yours. I'm a big fan. I'm a transgender woman myself. I'm the treasurer of the Massachusetts Libertarian Party. And after hearing you talk about this, I appreciate your viewpoint. And I do appreciate that you are on the defensive. But if there's people out there who don't know you personally, these kind of comments are going to come off looking really bad.
Yeah.
It makes the Libertarian Party look like we hate gay people.
No,
and that's something as a trans woman I'm trying to fight against.
That part I somewhat disagree with. It doesn't. I speak for myself. There's things in a party, things that I completely disagree with, things that I'm okay with. I'm not saying, hey, everyone in the Libertarian Party and all of the candidates think exactly like this. First of all, that's not even what I said or implied. That's one. Two, I'm speaking for myself as an individual. I have the liberty to do so. And if people ask directly like you did, right? No, okay. Are you homophobic? Either I'm a coward and I'm lying now, right? Which ain't the case. Or it's like, nah, maybe y'all taking out of context. And not y'all, but I mean some people. And absolutely not. You can, if you're trying to be homophobic or racist in this day and age. I live in Philly. I shop in the gayborhood. I eat in the gay. It's a literal area called the gayborhood. And when some of my anti-gay friends are like, yo, I'm not going down there. Yo, bro, what's wrong with you? What's up? Like, you scared? Like, what you scared of? You're not secure in who you is? I'm not. Yo, it's good food down there. I'm going down there to eat. That's it. Like, why is someone else's sexual orientation? Like, what does that have to do with you? You know. And so,
but let me walk down this road if I could. Actually, is what he's saying making sense, or is there something else that you think he should be saying, or something else that you are concerned about?
It absolutely makes sense, but at the same time, while he's commenting that what he's saying represents him, and I do appreciate that because it does represent him, as a Libertarian candidate, you're still representing the party.
I can see that.
And there's still that big picture piece of that, too. So when language like this is used, it can hurt other candidates in the party. It can hurt other activists in the party who are doing work trying to combat this view.
Ashley,
let me.
Hold on one second. Let me touch this, Ashley. There's an issue that I have here that there may be an elephant in the room that we're not discussing. There's lots of libertarians who've said terrible things. Lots of them. They're all over the place. They say them daily, all the time.
Yes.
I don't remember anyone thinking, well, that's it. We don't want him representing our party. But not just that. The language used is hood language. I know it. It sounds the way I talk when I'm with my friends. Right. I mean, there was actually a South Park about this, right? It was a South Park where, if you guys happen to watch South Park, there's a South Park where they were teasing bikers. Yeah. Right? Bikers who they were angry that bikers were being so loud, right? They were being so loud on the streets. And so the kids started calling the bikers fags. Right? But so then when they used the phrase fags, people thought they were attacking the gay community in South Park. Right. And the kids were like, no, we're not. No, they're not that at all. We love the gay community in South Park. These guys, because of their actions, were calling them fags as an insult. Right. And I think that's what often happens in certain communities. They simply use this. And, I dealt with this too. Now, to be forward with you, Ashley, I've had to change my language. Because as I said before, I grew up in the Marine Corps, and everything was homophobic. Everything was anti-woman. Every insult we used in the Marine Corps was because you were a girl or a woman. We used to use phrases. It's going to sound horrible, but we used to use phrases. We'd say, "I want every swinging dick up here." Right. We would use phrases like that all the time. They were completely male biased. They were completely anti-woman. They were completely anti-gay. Now, did that mean that the men, because I was on the ground side of the Marine Corps, there were no women where I was, right? There were no women in combat jobs when I was in the Marine Corps. That has changed now, I think, but now there are none. I mean, then there were none. Did it mean that I was anti-woman or anti-gay? No, it was basically bad habits I had to break. And luckily, I've broken those habits because I get what you're saying, and I don't want to insult people, so I've broken those habits. But they were just bad habits I had to break. What? They weren't meant to insult. I wasn't anti-woman. I wasn't anti-gay. Right. I simply had to break the habits. That's what it was. Does that make sense, Ashley?
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, it makes sense. And that's why I wanted to ask the question, because it's important that Maj be able to explain that, this is just common language that we use.
That's
and that
valid.
That he wasn't going to be homophobic.
Right. No, you can't. It's like trying to be racist towards Spanish people in California. You're going to be exhausted. Like it's just too much going on over there. Like
exhausted.
You're gonna be exhausted trying to like being homophobic. Like yo, if what my straight friends do, I don't care. Again, Rick and Morty. I hate everyone equally. It's like or love you equally. It's like yo, bro, don't expect. It's like okay, I call my female friends. Come on, bro, chill out. I know that she's not a bro. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like yo.
In that case, it's actually a term of endearment.
It's a term of endearment, and so it's like it's no different than it's no different than some of my homies still use the N-word. Right, and it's like yo, I know you're not saying that as a negative towards me. That's where you at with it, and there's so much layers there, but in context. But I think some people kind of latched onto it. But as far as me. Nah, man, I don't care enough.
Well, this is funny you brought this up, right? I don't know if you know this, Ashley, but they actually did, during my campaign last year, the publication City and State actually did a survey of how diverse each of the campaign teams were.
Yeah.
And there were 5 people running total. And I follow Maj's rule. I don't have a quota system. I don't treat anybody any differently. I just picked who I thought was the best. And this is documented. I had the most diverse team.
Right.
Without hands down. Right. And people were trying to quota. We're gonna she's black. That checks 2 blocks.
Boom.
I gotta get her, right? Right. He's gay and Jewish? Yes. Now I got 2 boxes on that one, right? They were literally doing that, and I was still more diverse.
And that's what
than
I'm saying.
All of them.
And that's what I'm saying. Like that thought process is like I'm actually treating everybody the same.
Yes.
And it's like, because you were aggressive. Why would that's insulting to the gay community. I'm dealing with you with kid gloves because you're gay, LBGTQ. It doesn't matter. That's the soft bigotry of low expectations.
I love that.
I'm going to treat you differently because, well, I can't say this to you. Yes, you can. And you can say some shit to me. Maj, you're a piece of shit. Yeah, I probably was a piece of shit that day. Right, you know what I'm saying? And so, like, at what point are we going to deal with that even exchange? If you're asking for equality and I'm treating you horribly, just like I treat everyone else horribly or loving, now if I'm too loving to you, you're only being loving to them because they're gay or transgender.
Well, sadly, that's often true.
That's whack.
That's often true.
That's like it's no different than.
Yes.
Listen,
I mean, my policy chief was trans.
Right.
And it's not because I said, you know what, I need to check a box.
I need to get the trans on the team.
She happened to be the right person for the job.
Can you do the job?
That was
no different than if you're in a wheelchair and if you run my shoes over, I'm gonna say, yo, bro, you ran my shoes over.
Absolutely.
Like I don't care that you can't walk. Don't be rude.
Yes, absolutely.
Like don't run. Yo, these is Yeezys. Cool out.
Yep.
You know, and so it's the same concept. But if I go, I can't say that to that person because they're in a wheelchair. No, you're not treating them as a human.
Absolutely.
That's my view on it. I hope that cleared that up.
Ashley, was that okay?
Ashley left.
I think we lost Ashley.
Yeah, that was great.
Okay.
No, I'm still here.
Okay,
cool.
Good. All right, thank you for calling in. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Larry.
All righty. So, look, if you guys like what we're saying, if this is good conversation for you guys, join us. I got more people on the phone. I'm going to grab you in a second, but we got people. You can call up 573-427-5463. And if you like what you hear, support us. Patreon.com/SharpeWay. Get over there now. Get some cool stuff. This isn't free. This costs us money. This costs us time. Absolutely. So come on. Support us.
I'm putting that on the shirt. I hate you all equally.
I hate you all equally. I love it. Absolutely. I'm going to grab another call if I can. We're going over to Nebraska now. Absolutely. We're going to be talking to Ben, talking about state parties. Ben, how are you?
Hey, Larry. I'm doing great. I kind of want to touch on what the previous caller said. And with the LP being a bottom-up organization, people are going to have to accept that the California LP isn't going to be like the Philadelphia LP.
It's a very
or
good
the
point.
Nebraska LP where I'm at. And I'm on city council myself. And, issues that Maj might have with inner Philadelphia is not going to come up for me. They have to. People are going to have to get used to a customized message when candidates run for office.
Right.
This is insanely good. I love that. See, we have trouble in the party too because people not only about the message but about the issues we bring up. Right. So, for example, if you're living in New York City, you know what's going to matter? MTA is a big issue. That's a big deal. Right. If you live in New York City, you got to worry about that. If I'm upstate New York, they may not care,
Right.
right? It may not be an issue I have to work on, right? And also, depending upon the city, right? You're in New York City, you don't have to worry about immigration as an issue, right? Because in New York City, is everybody come on in. I don't have to talk about immigration in New York City, right? I don't have to bring it up. But you get people in the party, particularly Larry. You have to be right on every issue. You have to fight on every issue. You've got to be right on every issue. Right. You've got to bring up every issue. And I'm like, no, I need to bring up the issues that the people in this area care about.
Right.
Whatever that happens to be.
And again, Philly in and of itself, man, is like its own planet. Philly,
about 2 million people in Philly.
1.56.
Okay.
Right. Philly it's the only city of the first class in Pennsylvania. It's like Philly is the only city with over 1 million people.
Right.
Kind of close as like Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Same as New York State.
Right. Same thing.
New York City, only one.
So it becomes a conversation about like my constituents, the people that I've dealt with most of my adult life. There's certain things that there's languaging that I'll joke about on my national followers. How many I tweeted this? How many of my followers know what Butters is? Okay, if you might be in the city, you might be in Philly. How many people know what John? So many people across the country like, yo, you say John a lot. What's John? Oh, that's a Philly term. You know what I mean? And so part of the thing that I'm kind of uniquely positioned to deal with is I know how to translate to my demographic. That's what has helped even with the Black Guns Matter work. Okay, you live in Chicago. The word might be different, but that energy and that vibe the same.
Yes, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what makes it work in Compton. It's a code of ethics. Everybody got a particular ethos, and that's similar in these urban demographics.
Right.
Different than rural, different than suburban.
Well, I say this all the time, right? For the Libertarian Party to grow and be powerful, we've got to be able to talk to cities.
Right.
And we're not good at that.
Right.
Right. We're not good at talking to cities. Right. And we got to be better at that and better at that and better at that because 80% of Americans live in cities now.
Right.
Right. 80% live in cities and more are moving.
Right.
Right. So it's going to keep happening again. Because we've got to be able to talk to the cities more and more and more. If this party is going to grow, it has to be. Right. Ben, is that what you want to talk about or was there more?
No, that was it. No, thanks for getting my favorite insult now. You a bitch and a weirdo.
No doubt. Right.
That's the new one now. You a bitch and a weirdo.
Yeah.
Here we go. I love it.
Thanks.
Maj, you're a bad influence on us all. I love it.
That's beautiful.
Awesome. That's awesome. Thanks, Ben. I appreciate it.
Yeah, that needs to be on the shirt too. You a bitch and a weirdo.
I love that. It's awesome. Yes. Well, it's funny. Even if we even go there, right? The word bitch, right, used to really be derogatory towards women.
Right.
But now it really isn't.
And that's there's.
I mean, it is obviously.
But it's like
you use it towards males too.
You're a bitch. Like that's not That is what is it? Non-binary.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
yes. Well, even the idea of man up.
Right.
Man up. I mean, you say man up to women.
Right.
You say man up to anybody. Man up. Right. So I think you do find some things that actually do.
And a lot of that is, again, it's the context. You know what I mean? Now, I understand that and can translate that. And there's some things where I'm contradictory even myself because there's some things that it's like, nah, you can't say that.
Right. Sure. Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And that's just me being honest with myself. But it's like, I'm still not going to.
No, I agree. As we just talked about, the brother of the guy who was shot.
Yeah.
He can forgive.
Yeah.
He's in that spot. If he wants to do that, he can do it.
Right.
Others?
Now, other family members, the people that actually took the loss.
That's correct. If they want to forgive, they absolutely can.
And he said it on the stand. He was like, I'm speaking for myself.
Yep.
I'm not speaking for not even other family members.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, all right, cool. That's you.
Mm-hmm.
Me, I'm going to lie and pretend. If I'm on that stand, I'm going to lie and pretend like I want to hug you just so I can get close to you. And I'm going to do what needs to. I'm cool with the case. I got some bail money. You know what I mean? That's my personal.
Allegedly.
Thank
you.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
These are the things that, to me, it becomes like either one of those are freedom. The people in the party that's like, yeah, I don't like Maj, even though he just gave the context and so forth and so on, blah, blah, blah. The reality is, two things should happen. One, I should respect your freedom of choice.
100%. Lots of people don't like me in the party.
Right. And
lots of people don't like me. I get dumped on all the time.
Now, pause. Now, the next thing is you have to go. I say to those people, You don't like me. There's areas that you disagree with me. You might have taken some things out of context. You probably don't even know what I actually was talking about. But if you've made this decision that you don't like me, you should get way more people into the party than me.
I agree completely.
You should start fundraising. You should get more and more people that think like you to come in and go, nope, we want this instead of that.
That's correct. Yes.
And I'll go, the people have spoken.
That 100%. I say the same thing. People dump me all the time, but none of them bring more people to the party than me.
You see what I'm saying?
None of them do. They talk trash all the time. How Larry's bad for the party. I hear it all the time.
What is their logic though? What?
I'm not libertarian enough, or I'm too libertarian, or whatever they decide for whatever reason. Left libertarians think I'm too right. I'm not joking. Every week I get notes and tweets and stuff every day. I get to my personal Facebook page. I have a team. You know that. I have a team that takes up all my tweets and everything. I get so much of it, right? I get tons of it, right? So every week I hear either one or two things. The Libertarian Party's been taken over by the left, or Libertarian Party's been taken over by the right. Within a week, I get the same thing. So, and then whichever one they think I'm not is I'm the bad one.
That's what I meant.
I'm the bad one of whatever they think.
Right. Look,
yes.
That's why when I said
I'm not left enough or I'm not right enough.
When the left media, again, ignore him. Don't, because he's got too many facts and we got this money trail going on over here. The right is like, well, you're not sycophantic enough.
Yes, I get that all the time.
So it's like, well, we thought you were going to be with one of in our cult.
Yes.
So it's like, nah. And then it's like, all right, cool. Now I'm cool with that because I run into people like you. I'm like, yo, Larry's dope. Like, what are you talking about? Right. And then when I go, well, tell me, it's no different than when I say to people, and I guess this for a long time, people was like, oh, because you on a Trump train. I'm like, nah, not really. But if I'm able to ask you, like, what actually do you think is racist about dude? Like what policy, what thing? You ask me what I did not like about President Obama, I can say, well, he campaigned on this. Mm-hmm. He's still a warmonger. Mm-hmm. He bombed many more nations than a lot of everybody else, right? I can give you actual things. The first thing you said you was going to do was get rid of the Gitmo. You was going to get rid of the Patriot Act.
Yep.
You re-upped.
Yep.
So I can tell you that. Then when people go, well, yeah, that Obama, that Muslim, that from if that's his real name, I go, well, he's got a solid family. There's been no that I'm aware of. There's been no.
Our current president has 3 wives and 5 kids from 3 different
baby
mamas.
He ran as a black dude.
Yeah,
Trump
he did.
Ran as a
100%.
black. He got baby moms.
100%.
He got nobody believed in him.
100%.
He had to do it on his own. He had to come up with his own paper.
Absolutely.
Now after he won, everybody wanted. Oh, I knew you could do it. He ran as a black man.
No doubt.
So with that being the case, it's like if I'm objective enough to go, well, I didn't like these things about Obama, and then when somebody goes, well, he was listen, bro, as a family man, the Audacity of Hope alone is one of my favorite books.
Well, look, but here's the issue that we want to bring up here, right? There's no need to worship Obama or Trump.
Right.
They're just humans. They're just people, right? That's it. Well, you're right. Trump, in today's world, Trump, they judge me by, do I hate him with a passion or do I worship him as the God King?
Right.
Right? And neither are true, therefore I'm not good enough.
Right.
That's how that works.
That actually just makes me a well-balanced, objective person that's going like, nah, I bang with him there. Mm-hmm. I do not bang with him here.
Absolutely.
Based on your actions and deeds. And the irony is, in my experience, just like you get those emails every week, I get the most religious people that tell me how horrible I am. I'm like, well, one, you're judging. Mm-hmm. So that's one, that you're kind of wrong there, based on your book.
Right.
Then the other thing is, are you in a space where you're doing the things that you think need to be done, or are you only just pointing the finger at people that aren't? 100%. You know what I mean? And so for me, it's like this. I actually like being in this space.
It's a lot easier to point your finger and blame than it is to think and do.
Yeah,
100%. Let me grab another call if I can.
Sure.
All right, I want to grab another call if I can. It looks like we're going to Louisiana now. Last week we were all about New York. This week we are all over the country.
It's a lot easier to point your finger.
So I want to deal with Daniel. Daniel, how are you, sir?
Larry, my friend, how are you?
Hey, what's going on, brother? I know this, man. I'm so glad you're calling in.
Hey, Maj. What's up, baby?
What's up? How you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm probably need to get you down here sometime in December. down in Louisiana and, do a couple projects.
New Orleans?
New Orleans, babe.
Yeah.
I need me one of them shirts overnighted because,
Oh, I forgot.
we got that little...
See, you're messing up now.
I'm all the way messing up.
Messing up now.
overnight, I'm going to wear it Wednesday because,
Okay.
People are going to probably be... Just to make this really clear, and for people that don't know who I am the chair of our Convention Oversight Committee. I'm the guy that asked Maj, along with the rest of the committee, to be our keynote.
So you're the bad guy. Got
so
it.
some people... Right. Some of that stuff you heard earlier, people have a big issue about this. I've been very silent publicly until probably this exact moment.
Mm-hmm.
So Maj is actually not going to be on that live stream we do Wednesday. Maj and I talked about it.
Right.
We were only going to put him on for a couple of minutes, and I was like, Maj, for you to take 30 minutes out of your time when you could be out campaigning or doing other things to get on there for like 2 minutes and you can't ask for money because it's a national party and you're a local candidate, it makes sense. So we're going to have Dick Body, who is our 1992 runner-up for our presidential nomination, is going to be on there talking about Maj because Dick is a African-American from way back, and so he's seen this in the party, and he realizes what an activist like Maj brings to the party, and he's the person that we had actually tapped to introduce Maj at the National Convention. So any of the conspiracies that Maj is not on that because that whole thing, no. This was actually something I was like, I don't know.
Is that why you called, or was there a question you wanted to ask?
That is not why I called.
Okay.
So one of the things that people had issues with, Maj, and by the way, something that the three of us all have on this call in common is we are not open border libertarians.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So explain your position on the borders, et cetera, because that seems to be an issue with some people.
Sure. No, let me cover that if I could too. I spent a lot of time last week a little bit, but it's not that I want. The problem is that there's an idea that you want the wall or you want open borders, right? It's nothing or everything, and this is my issue. I bring up in my entire issue I brought up. If you guys care, you can check it out. I talk about my idea of 2 Ellis Islands, build them on the border, and the idea is I want to still have a border. But I want to have vibrant immigration.
Right.
I just want to have controlled, vibrant immigration. And you can do both. You can absolutely have vibrant immigration and still have it controlled and still know what's going on. But go ahead, Maj, this is for you.
To me, it's very simple. And I think some people took some of the things that I said out of context. I want to go back in because I think the argument that people, or the tweets that people took out of context with me was, when I was talking about rhinos that get on there and go, yeah, build a wall, and I'm like, I know some of these guys. I know the restaurants that they own, and I'm like, you're saying one thing and doing another,
100%.
And it's like, I know who you hire and how you pay them under the table.
Yep.
So stop. Don't let me expose.
Because you live in a major city just like I do.
Right.
You see it.
And like, stop it. And so what happened there was people were going, and what I said in the tweet was, if we're serious about this in a questionable way, if we're serious about this, then why aren't you pushing to audit businesses?
Oh, yeah.
That are doing X, Y, and Z. And that people took that one part out and was like, yo, he's a Trump. And I'm like, yo, you missed so much of the conversation.
Yes.
So that's that. Now, some of the most my stepfather is an immigrant from Jamaica. Everybody seemed to leave that out of the conversation. If you're in a space where you think that because someone comes from a different country, that they're not some of the hardest working people that you ever met in your life, I don't know where you've been the whole time.
Absolutely.
That's number one. At the same time, rights need to be reciprocated. I can't go down to, I like Japanese art. If I just want to hang out in Tokyo for 6 months, the Japanese government is going to go, hey, bro, how long you here for? That's just what that is.
No,
now,
I know. I literally lived in Japan for 4 years.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes, and my paperwork I had to fill out was in Japanese.
Right.
I'd have an interpreter from paperwork out.
See?
My paperwork's not even in English.
Right. So when you say, you come there, they go, yo, write this in Japanese, bro. So.
Well, they let me write it in English, but the form was in Japanese. So I had to have a translator to translate the form for me.
We not changing our thing for you.
Yes.
Learn our language.
Correct. Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And so when you say that, or when you present it, I think what happens sometimes is people, when I say, yo, it's got to be a balanced approach there. And I think because, like you said, some people have such an extreme left or right argument. Then when you present caveats or challenges to their argument. So if I go open borders, you say open borders, open borders, open borders. Bro, you got a lock on your door?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's not just the freedom of movement into your house, though.
Right.
Oh, well, that's different. No, you're espousing this value system of complete human movement is cool. So I can just float through your crib, right? Mm-hmm. Well, that's different. No, I'm showing you a practical flaw in your argument.
Right.
Which means you have to balance it out a bit. And when you do that, like to your point, where it's like, yo, I do think that the process of immigration is outdated. It's
horrible.
Like it's what government does.
It's a disaster.
It's trash.
Yes, absolutely.
So if I'm saying, yo, if we can streamline this process, if we can get, and there's a process of making sure that the people that come into the nation, hardworking, like most of them already are, and streamline that process, I think that makes every area stronger and better.
100%.
So when I say that, and I just go, along with the pull quote that somebody threw on Twitter, then it's like, oh, he's a Trump such and such and such. And it's like, bro, you don't understand nuance, even in a party that has gradation.
Yes.
And cap to lowercase l.
Yes.
So even in this party that you're in, you with all of these different layers and context, you still aren't applying context to a bigger conversation. And you're wrong there. And if you really...
Daniel, did he answer your question or no?
Yeah, pretty much. And I think one of the things that a lot of people miss is, when did this become a problem? When did immigration, so-called, become a problem? It's a drug war. It goes back to the drug war.
Well, I'll go back even
I
further.
think most of the problems we have...
Hold on. Immigration is the same as health care. Immigration is the same as abortion. They're wedge issues.
Right.
That's all they are, right? You telling me I'm the only guy who can figure out a way on the planet? I'm the only one who can figure out a way to have vibrant, secure immigration? Of course not. They don't want it. To your point, Maj, the hospitality industry doesn't want to get rid of immigration.
No.
The restaurant industry, the farmers, they don't want to get rid of immigration. They love it. They can't wait. They're never going to stop it. You go back 10 years ago, Democrats were saying build a wall. Republicans were saying too expensive.
Right.
This is simply a wedge issue that people use so that all they can say is, do you want to build a wall or not? And you answer that question, and now I put you on red team or blue team.
Boom.
That's it.
And in that space, we lose so many layers of solutions.
Yes.
And
they don't want to solve it.
Right. Because it's like it becomes we can keep you arguing. We can have panel discussions and debates, which feeds the hospitality industry, the travel industry.
Yes, it does.
This is something we listen, we selling tickets to the show, baby.
Absolutely.
And that space is like, if you step back and go, yo, I don't really want to buy a ticket to the show. My job as the founder or co-founder of Black Guns Matter is to make my job obsolete.
Of course.
I don't want to have this job.
That's what nonprofits do. That's not what bureaucracies do.
Right.
Yes.
And so it's like in that space when I'm going, yo, bro, we could. So you're telling me freedom of speech. I'm saying, yo, we should talk about how we can come up. Yo, Larry got some actual solutions. Let's bring him in there on talking about how we can. No, you didn't just say that every open border should be open, so you're not libertarian.
That's correct. Yes.
And
absolutely.
This is wrong. It's just wrong. And I'm not.
It's a wedge issue that we fall into, right?
Right.
Abortion too.
Right.
Abortion is a wedge issue. They just simply say, okay, are you pro-life or not? I am or I'm not. Boom. Are you pro-choice or not? Boom. They've now decided that they can or will not, number one, trust you. They can't, right? I remember this, I tell a story often because it's so burned in my head. I'm running for governor last year. I'm up in North Country. A guy comes up to me and he says, tells me his story about how he's going to lose his farm, been in his family for 6 generations. Oh my God. The first question he asked me is, what do you think about Trump? Why would he ask that question, right? And logically, it makes no sense. It wasn't a presidential election.
Right.
Trump was going to be president no matter what, whether he loved Trump or hate Trump, it's irrelevant. He was still going to be president. I can't affect Trump whether I was governor or not, it's irrelevant. It's not going to affect his farm at all, whether Trump is president or not, it's irrelevant.
Right.
He asked that question because the answer to that question, he then realizes, can I trust him or not?
Right.
Is he on my side or not? And these wedge issues, pro-life, pro-choice, pro-wall, anti-wall, any of these are literally just wedge issues. And when it happens, when you keep it this way, now the left and right don't have to actually work.
Right.
They simply have to protect you from the other.
Right.
That's it.
They.
Yes.
Right.
The other, they, right? If you're on the left, they protect you from the right. If you're on the right, protect you from the left. That's all they care about.
That's why I think it's a badge of honor to now be ignored by both.
Yes.
Because one, it gives us the space,
but Larry,
to go, let's build. Okay, look, I've been around the country 5, 6, I don't even know how many times now. I'm seeing tremendously in these big pockets of urban centers where so many people is like, yo, this is a sham.
Yes.
It's this. I don't want to do the lesser of two evils. And I'm going like, yo, you don't have to do lesser of two evils. Here's this party called Libertarian where you kind of like are in control of your own thing. And it's a wonderful place if where people argue and have perspective and share. Now, if we can galvanize everybody in there and then get on the same page and now pick a smart person to be in these, local to state to national positions with this viable party of intelligent, strong-minded people, we actually could get a win. And as I'm saying this to all of I was in Chicago yesterday saying it. I'm in red rooms, blue rooms, and they going, yo, maybe this is going to work. And it's no reason why we can't now collectively go, and that's where the forgiveness angle comes in.
See, I was right with the forgiveness. See that?
Where I go, yeah, y'all are wilding, but still bring your army and brings more people into this camp.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Hold on, Dan, you wanted to say something. Go ahead, Dan. You gave me a butt, Larry.
Yeah, so I agree with you about the wedge issue, and it goes back to what happens when the government starts to prohibit peaceful behaviors by people that don't hurt someone else.
Yeah.
Yes.
It always ends up being a big problem.
Absolutely.
Movement. And I'm not saying that, hey, the border should be wide open, but what used to happen in the past? People used to go pick vegetables, etc., during the growing season, and then go back across the border when it was where it's less expensive for them to use those dollars. But now there's this prohibition, so they just come and stay. Plus, there's the free give-me's and stuff. So, but it's definitely a wedge issue. I totally agree with you on that.
Right.
Yeah, that's my biggest issue is that I said this actually on Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan didn't believe me. I was like, they don't want to solve this problem. He's like, well, of course they want to solve the problem. I'm like, no, they don't. Because it's why solve the problem? If I solve the problem, then I have to actually work.
Right.
And I'm responsible for it. I don't do that.
I'm out of a job now.
Well, they'll find a reason. But yes, I get your point, right? Look, I talk about this all the time, right? For your bureaucracy, right? And my job is to service the people, right? I'm going to service the poor, right? That's my job. I give them services, whatever those services are.
Yeah.
What am I going to do? I'm going to keep servicing them.
Right.
I'm never going to help them.
Right.
I'm going to keep servicing them. My job isn't actually to help them out of poverty.
Yo, that's
my job
crazy.
is to service them. Yeah. So I will keep servicing them.
Today I took a meeting, and in this meeting, one of the dudes told me, I said, well, tell me how I could, work and help y'all out. And he literally said, oh, we don't do direct services.
Of course, yes.
And I was like, wow. Like you have a building. You have like an office and a floor in a building, and you don't directly serve the people that the job is here to do. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool, but not really, but all right.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And it's an interesting thing. But I guess, again, maybe if this is spiritual, right? I know I go all like la la land. If this is spiritual, maybe that's the natural progression in a tangible term. If we saying, like, okay, I go from Democrat to kind of like Republican to Libertarian to something else. Maybe this is the natural progress of someone evolving and getting, maybe this isn't just the individual, a Larry or a me, or maybe it's the collective now going this direction of saying, okay, we have to shed some of these labels, right? To kind of like push this particular, it's like George Washington saying, yo, I don't want to do parties.
Right.
Like, I'm cool. Like,
well, no, I think we are tribal. I mean, that's just what we are, right? We are naturally tribal. I get that. And I think our party fights internally when we don't have a purpose, right? I saw it in New York State. When I was running in New York State, the party was relatively united in New York State, not outside, but it was relatively united because they were like, oh, we have this candidate we're getting behind. Let's get behind this candidate. We have a purpose. We have a meaning. Let's do this. Then the election's over. Let's kill each other, right? Then we want to fight each other. Then we want to get mad. And it was your fault. It was your fault. It's her fault.
Right.
It's everybody else's fault, right? All of a sudden now everybody's bad and it's civil war. It's horrible again. So I think we do have to have a purpose because we are tribal. Naturally, we are. And we also, it's very easy for us to just find an enemy, right?
Yeah.
I would prefer if our back and forth, and I would prefer our back and forth in this country to not be left and right, which is I want to spend money on this and take away these rights, or the right, I want to spend money on this and take away those rights, but instead be liberty versus authoritarianism.
Right.
If we had that push or pull, we'd have a better country. It would be open. We would get it. We'd have a better country, right? Because then at least locally, you could decide that you wanted more authoritarianism. And it happens, right? And people tease me when I say, I'm actually okay with voluntary socialism.
Right.
I'm okay with the Amish, right? They're voluntary socialism. Right? The thing that libertarians have a problem with often, they say, well, we have to be free. It's about my rights and that kind of thing. And I tell them, a lot of people don't want to be free.
Right. And
they really don't want to be free.
And you have to respect their
That's
right.
That's exactly right.
To like, oh, you want to be a slave? Cool.
Yeah.
Do your thing,
or
bro.
whatever it's going to be. I want to be told what to do. Okay.
Right.
No worries. That's good. You can go join a commune. You can go join a cult if you want to. You can go join the Amish. You can go be told what to do. You can go to do good.
Do your
for
thing.
You.
Right.
If that makes you happy, go ahead.
Right.
As long as it's voluntary and you can leave.
Right.
Right? Because maybe at one point you're going to realize, this Amish stuff is not for me.
I don't like churning butter.
I actually think an iPhone's pretty cool. I'm going to leave.
Right.
And you can do that. And I don't have a problem with that. And people tease me. They say, Larry, who the hell would accept voluntary? What are you going to voluntarily detain yourself?
Yes.
Yeah, it's called the military. It's called marriage.
Right.
It's right? Literally, right? It's called having children with someone you can't leave a state now.
Right.
People do it all the time, right? It's called putting yourself in a rehab.
Right.
This is voluntary detaining yourself. I don't have a problem with any of those things.
Right. It's
I think
running for a political party.
Yes.
It's like you signed up for this.
Well, this actually happened here, and we had an issue a couple years ago with people on our LNC saying things that I wasn't happy about. Right? And people got mad at me. They said Larry's trying to get rid of First Amendment rights, and Larry's a bad guy because he doesn't want this guy saying these things. And I said, no. When you're an officer in a public company, you voluntarily lose part of your free speech.
True.
I know. I've been an officer in a public company.
Yeah.
There are certain things I simply cannot say.
Right.
Right. But it's not a gun to my head. I still have my First Amendment rights. But then I shouldn't be an officer in a public company.
That was
right. I don't have to do that job.
Those were one of the biggest arguments or internally that we had. Like, yo, are you going to go run for city council? Mm-hmm. And it was like, you kind of be wilding, just doing whatever you want. And I'm like, yeah, I kind of do. And it's like, yo, I kind of know that November the 5th is going to determine like a big win means I almost can't even cuss the same.
That's correct. No, you're right. If you take that job, there are certain, when I was a Marine, I joined the Marine Corps.
Right.
When I was a Marine, I lost many of my rights.
Right.
Right. As a Marine, you cannot sue the government.
Right.
Right. So the government can do whatever it wants. I cannot sue it.
Right.
Right. Done. But I volunteered.
Right.
So that's totally fine. If you take that job, you're volunteering to give up some of your stuff.
Yeah, and that's that part was one of the things where you have that question like, yo, I've shown that I'm effective on the outside. The only problem with that is you could educate all of these people about firearm safety and conflict resolution and all this other stuff, and then some dweeb in that position in the city council seat could be the one deciding factor.
Yes.
That's like, yeah, all semi-automatics in Philly is not a thing no more.
Right.
So it's like, now you can have your individual freedoms and like, oh, I could be outside. Well, you're outside. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And so that was one of the big questions for me. Like, yo, do you go in, win, do the job well, determine. You still can kind of get your Allen Iverson on. You got tattoos.
Sure, yeah.
You could cross them over every now and then. But you can't dribble the ball this high. Right. This ain't and one. This ain't street ball. Sure. You know what I mean? And you just got to accept that. Or don't go do this.
Yes.
Don't go do this. Yes. Because what you was doing running around with guns and Black Guns Matter, yeah, but no, you are taking a position to fight incrementally towards more liberty for people that weren't aware of it, but you're within a box.
Yes.
You know.
When I was running for governor, I rarely swore.
Yeah.
I knew I had to. I rarely swore.
Yeah.
Right. I have to change my language. Right. When I'm representing another company, I'm a consultant. Right. So very often I represent other companies.
Yeah.
When I represent other companies, I have to act a certain way.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I shouldn't take that consulting gig.
Yeah.
Right. If I'm going to take a consulting gig and work for a specific company, I have to accept certain things. Right. Or don't do it. So I think it's true. I mean, we do have to make that shift, and you find a lot of libertarians who just don't understand that. They think you've got to be a hardcore ANCAP, no matter who you are, no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, no matter who you're in front of, and all you're going to ensure is that this party never grows.
Yeah, that's
all you're going to ensure.
You know what I heard a gang of times, and I didn't see it. Sometimes I benefit from not knowing stuff, right? I'm like, yo,
ignorance is bliss.
Yeah, and I go, I don't know who that is, so I can deal with this person genuinely because I don't know that they're worth $20 billion,
right? Sure,
right, or whatever,
right.
I didn't hear much about the guy that like ran around naked or something like that.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
And then everybody was like, yeah, your party's. I'm like, well, I ain't see that. All I seen is like a bunch of smart dudes and women. So I don't really, you know what I mean, even know about that. But at the same time, it was like.
No, I get your point, right? What you do is you have to understand who you are and what your people are doing. And look, you have to worry about Philly.
Right.
That's your world. That's what you got to worry about, right? I had to worry about New York State.
Right.
Right. And most people in New York State don't even know what Libertarian is.
Right.
Have no idea.
Right.
Don't know. So that's what I was dealing with. So for someone who may be in Ohio or Idaho or insert state who's going to insult me and say I'm not good enough, to be fair, I don't really care.
Yeah.
I care if they're in New York and they vote.
Right.
That's what I care about. Right. You're in New York and you vote, I care. You're not in New York and or you don't vote, I don't really care. Yeah. I'll get over it, right? I'll move on. You can be mad at me and whatever you want, it's fine. We'll get over it.
Right.
But the thing that you see me try to do, and I hope you see it with this show, is I'm trying to bring more people into the fold.
Correct.
And the people who get so angry and upset, I would hope they would see what I'm doing and say, yeah, I don't like certain things Larry Sharpe does. I don't like this or I don't like that. But he's bringing people into the fold.
Right.
So let me start training those people to be the things that I want them to be. Yes, I want libertarians to be this way. Larry brings them in. Thank you, Larry. We'll take it from here. And then they will train them in the way that they want.
The assembly line.
Yes, they will train them in every way they want.
Right.
So anyway, I hope you guys are enjoying this show. If you want to be a part of this show, then please do me a favor. Pick up that phone. Make that phone call just like Daniel did, just like Clarence did, just like Ben did. 573-427-5463. If you like what you're hearing, you want to keep it going. Yes, I want to keep it going too. It's not free. Not free, damn it. Costs money.
Right.
It does. Head on over to patreon.com/Sharpeway and throw me a couple of bucks. Throw me $9. Throw me $48. Throw me 90 some odd bucks. Throw me $500. Throw me $1,000 and I will show up to your event. Yep, you will have me, the handsomest man around, show up to your event and raise some money for you. How about that? Let's make that happen. I love it. All right. I want to touch your biggest issue.
Yeah.
Which you're not supposed to care about. Guns.
Right.
You're supposed to be anti-gun.
Yeah.
You're supposed to not want guns. You're supposed to be about, guns are bad. They're killing everybody.
Right.
But you're not there at all.
Nah, not at all.
How do you get that message to people who, I've been to your events. You get the message out. They're there. It's working.
Right.
How?
I just tell them the truth. I just tell them the truth and tell them that, wherever they're at. When I'm talking to my gay homies, it's like that are anti-gun because they usually if they live in a liberal city. So it's different ways. It's kind of like tailored.
Okay.
My gay homies that's in a liberal city and they go, yeah, guns are bad. And it's like, bro, what if you was in Pulse nightclub that night? Would you have wanted the means to defend your life from the weirdo? Oh, yeah, that's true. Oh, yeah. Well, do you as a gay person, do you trust that police officers are going to come rush to the gay neighborhood to save your life faster than you that are already there could do it? Nah. That same messaging goes for the dude in the hood. Yo, you live up the street from the killers. If the killers just happen to come want to take your stuff, do you want to have the means to defend yourself? Yeah. And on top of that, I spin it with the libertarian twist. Do you think the government should only come there after the fact, after you've defended yourself? Or do you think you should rely on the government to magically pop up? And then explaining it that way and sprinkling it with a tidbit of, the data on top, it becomes like, yo, who told me? It's going back to that first thing. you aren't actually super Democrat or Republican. You're not actually living a Christian or Islamic or Jew or whatever. You're not actually in it. It's something that you've identified with, that you throw out there every now and then. But when you start thinking about it, it's like, yo, why am I anti-gun? When practical data and conversation is presented to you, you go like, nah, that actually makes sense what you're saying. You know, and it's like you said, I don't know, I guess everybody around me is anti-gun, so I guess I am.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people think that, right? Like you're supposed to be anti-gun. My worry here is and this goes to your left-right paradigm too, right? If we just say this is bad or we just say this is good, people aren't going to change.
No.
We've got to show them here's a better way.
Right.
Right? If I just go, well, gun control's bad, then the person on the left goes, oh, you don't want to do anything?
Right.
Because they can't imagine doing anything else, right? They only imagine either gun control or we let kids get shot in schools.
One or the other.
That's all there is, right?
Right.
But when I actually talked about the idea of how about instead, in schools, we simply do this. No change of laws, no extra money, no extra guards, but instead, if you are a teacher or an administrator in a public school in New York State, and you are licensed to carry a firearm, and you want to carry a firearm in school, you may. That's it. What's the first thing I got? You want to arm teachers? I didn't say that. I said, if you are licensed to carry a firearm,
and if you want
to, you may. That's it. And they go, but how's that going to? I said, well, the left says you want to arm teachers. The right says we got to have officers there. And when I say the left is, if you have, the reason why they're shooting the schools up is because they're soft targets.
Right.
And then you notice that now they don't shoot schools up anymore.
Right.
Why? Because schools are now finding ways to protect themselves.
Right.
So they're no longer soft targets.
Yep.
Is that what I was talking about? If you're in the right and you have a police officer there or a resource officer, they shoot him first.
Oh, you off top. You protecting things.
Yeah.
I gotta hit you first.
Yes. So I take you out first and then kill the rest.
Right.
Right. So it becomes security theater.
Right.
Which New York City is famous for security theater.
There's the one person here. I'm saving all 800 people in here at the same time. Shut up.
So he gets shot first and then do the rest. But if that shooter doesn't know who's armed.
You can't plan.
It's not a soft target. You don't shoot the school up.
Right. See, again, nuance.
Yep.
It's no different than when at BGM, people will say, well, why do you go talk to anti-gun place in Chicago? The thing a few days ago was anti-gun. Well, one, I'm not really trying to convince necessarily the people on the panel that's with me. If they've made the commitment, the one young lady, she agreed with me after the first statement.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, cool. Now, she might be like, well, I don't know about ARs, but I get you on the trauma issue. I get you on the having the means to defend yourself because I live in the actual neighborhood.
Right.
Boom. Cool. We could disagree on what we disagree on, but you already gave me a nugget that I'm like, okay, we have a commonality.
So she was able to talk to you.
Right.
Got it.
Again, people on the right or the left. Right goes, you're not supposed to even talk to them. You know how many people told us
I can't stand that.
You shouldn't go to our very first classes. Don't go to Maryland. Our very first class on the tour was Baltimore. Mm-hmm. Don't go to Baltimore because they're anti-gun. Well, don't you think that's where we actually should go?
That's where I gotta go. Exactly. Oh my God, I can't turn you if I can't talk to you.
Right.
Yes. It's funny. The people got mad at me. This is years ago. I did an interview on Reason magazine. Mm-hmm. And the guy was like, do you want Nazis to come to the party? I said, bring anybody. Nazis, socialists, fascists. I don't care. Bring them all. I'll talk to them all. Because if 10 come, 8 will go back, but 2 will stay.
Right.
And that's 2 less Nazis.
Right.
Right? I got 2 less. I'll take it. Right? Everyone that I can possibly grab, I want to grab. I can't convert if I can't talk to you.
Right.
So I got it. So I want to go directly into that place where people think I'm wrong or terrible. I want to be right in the belly of the beast.
You know what's crazy though? Most of the times when I'm in those spaces, again, saying it very practically, here's the data. 2018, stats come out. Licenses to carry go at 1.4 million. Last year, 2018. Violent crime drops.
There we go.
So it's like, okay, the education is working. We talk. If a person 1.4 million people went to go get a license, that means they were kind of like somewhat paying attention.
Mm-hmm, yep.
So if they somewhat paying attention and nationally crime goes down, that tells you something.
I agree.
What happens is in those spaces when I go, it's not that the general public is anti, especially when you break it down to them. When I say, bro, you're not really anti-gun, because are you saying that cops shouldn't have guns too?
Yes, absolutely.
And then they go,
yeah.
Nah, that would be silly. Oh, so you saying you only want the cops to have guns?
Yes.
Oh, nah. Okay, do you think cops should have them and you should have them? Because you say, now, if you know you crazy, you know you crazy. If you crazy, nah, I'm crazy. I shouldn't have. Okay, I appreciate you.
Yes.
Knowing that you crazy.
Remember, Second Amendment's a right, not a requirement.
Right.
So you could say no.
I'm cool.
Absolutely.
I don't want one.
No worries.
All right, more for me.
Absolutely.
And so,
look, I want to grab a couple calls if I can. I got
Sure.
a bunch in the thing out, and I haven't been doing it, so let me grab a couple if I could.
Let's get 'em.
I'm going to go to Texas if I can. I'm heading over to Texas, and I want to grab Philip. He wants to talk about the Libertarian Party. Philip, how are you, my friend? Philip, are you there?
Yes, hello.
Hey, what's going on, my friend? Talk to me.
I'm doing good, thank you. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the Libertarian Party.
Tell me.
Yeah, specifically about the problem we have with getting candidates.
Okay.
Good candidates, I mean.
It is a problem, and I agree. And one of the biggest issues we have is talent. And it's not just talent as candidates, it is that, but also talent with people who know how to run a campaign, people who know how to run social media. I think it's true. The problem is our party's had about 40 years of failure, and so a lot of people have walked away from the party and gone to the other parties. We've got to bring them back, and how we bring them back is by having better candidates that we keep running and supporting them, and more importantly, having good infrastructure. I'm a guy who says, I don't want 2,000 candidates. I want 200 with good teams. The more we have teams, the more people supporting us, the more people will come to us. I think that's how we recruit the right people to come from other parties, and that's how we motivate people to run. And I see that in New York State. We have over in New York State, we had less than 20 libertarians running last election cycle. Now we have over 200. And at least a third of those are people who were on my campaign in some way, shape, or form, right? They saw me do it. They were part of it. They felt that. They go, you know what? That's for me. They jumped on board. And most of the people who were on my campaign are now on someone else's campaign.
Love.
So they're learning more and more and more.
Right.
I think that's how we do it, Philip.
Thank you. As I personally have looked at the party as like struggling with this self-defeating cycle, like you mentioned, where, you know, people leave because we lose, and then, well, we can't win if people are leaving, right?
Yes, but the issue is once we lose, and this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm trying to show you that even though I lost, I lost my last election, right? I lost. It was obvious. But I'm still here.
Right.
I'm still here. I'm not walking away in most do, which is why I'm bugging Maj. He's not going nowhere. If I got to come to Philly and drag him back, I'm doing it. So I'm doing it. I'm not letting him leave our party. I don't care if he wins, if he loses, whatever happens. I want him in because we need people to stay. I think that ability to staying power will get more people to stay. You're correct.
Yeah. It's parties is the determining factor of how you're going to get the thing that's in front of your name to win the seat. The actual policy and the politic of liberty and freedom is something that's long, and it's like that's the marathon. You know what I mean? How can we consistently get people to stay on this wave?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whether the person is, you know, again, there's a million people that have, you know, libertarian ideologies, and they're coming around to come into the party and strengthen the party, which is absolutely what we need to do. But at the same time, I still want to engage people that, okay, you might not be in the party right now.
Yes.
But I still want you to spread this ideology and still have the conversation, because then you'll go, well, what's this about? And that 10 other people that you communicate with, again, 7 of those people might join the party or will join the party.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Especially as we, like you said, build the infrastructure and things like that. So,
Phil, did I answer your question?
Yeah, thank you very much. And
awesome, my
I
friend.
appreciate people like y'all sticking to the party and not just, you know, flip-flopping Democrat, Republican, that sort of thing.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate the call. All right. I want to head to your hometown. We got some people from Philly calling up, so I think that's amazing. Want to get from Philly, I want to grab Michelle from Philly, who now is supporting you. Michelle, are you here?
Yeah.
Talk to me, please. You're here on with Larry and Maj.
Hi, Larry, it's Michelle from Allegheny County. You know me.
Oh, my God. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Awesome.
Haven't seen you in like, 2 weeks?
I know. No, I still have the picture you gave me. My wife was surprised at the picture. She couldn't believe it. My daughters love it. So thank you for that gift.
I just wanted to call to say this guy is a genius.
Ooh, you're a genius, Maj.
I don't care what people are saying about his city Negro black person dialect, however you want to say it politically correct.
Yeah.
I love this guy.
Is that what people
are
saying?
He's well-rounded. He's well-read. And this guy is amazing.
All
Thank
right.
you.
You
Thank
are
you so
winning. That's
much.
upstate New York you're winning. I thought it was Philly. This is upstate New York. You are winning everywhere.
Hey, I appreciate
Dude,
that.
I'm calling from my area, and you can ask Larry, is redneck as hell.
That's true.
That's good. He said that's true.
It's true. Yes.
That's absolutely true.
But
Hey, I appreciate it.
I
for
love
sure.
my rednecks too. I don't care.
Yeah.
I love all New Yorkers.
Yo, you have no idea. Well, you do, but there's so many people. Again, I've been all around the country, and I'm like, yo, we do have differences, but it's so many, like the foods. I'm like, yo, what's that called here?
Oh,
over there, that's the same thing,
Yes,
but it's
it
called
is.
this there.
Yes.
You know, so there's so many commonalities in that regard. So I really, really appreciate you.
We have no differences, and thank you for being who you are.
Thank you so
You're
much.
amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, see, those are the things that, like, everybody's all mad at me. I'm like, yo, some people like me, bro.
Some people do like your clothing.
Right.
Michelle's wonderful, though. She's a good person. I know her very well. Thank you, Michelle, for calling. Was there another thing you want to talk about, or was that it?
No, it was it. I just wanted to show support because people on the line are saying, you know, the way he talks and everything, he's never going to win. And it's like, do you know the city?
Yeah.
You know how black people talk?
You know how people talk. I mean,
Right.
and in today's world, have you seen white kids talk?
Right.
They talk more
Oh,
ghetto than the
God,
black
no.
kids now.
Right.
So what are you
no
talking about?
kidding.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, they got to blame Eminem for that one.
Yeah, they got to blame Eminem. Exactly right. Everybody wants to be Eminem now. Absolutely. So yes, I completely agree. Thank you so much. I
But I
appreciate
just wanted to say hi to you, Larry, and I wanted to tell you, what is it, Taj?
Maj.
If I'm saying it incorrectly, I'm
Maj.
sorry. But thank you for being who you are. You're awesome.
Thank you so much.
All righty, awesome. Thank you so much. All right, I want to grab another call if I can. I think I'm going to grab Jason from Washington Heights. This is up here in Manhattan, so now we're in Manhattan time here.
Okay.
So, Jason, how are you?
Good.
Are you there?
Yes, sir. Right here.
How are you? Talk to me. You're on with Larry and Maj.
Yeah, as a New Yorker, I certainly notice. Yeah, you can hear me?
Yep.
All right. So, as a New Yorker, and as somebody not originally from New York, 12 years ago, I mean, there's a lot of people in New York that, as you said, they think very libertarian and stuff.
Yep.
They just don't realize it.
Yes.
Now, what between? I mean, Maj and I have met, at his Brooklyn, class and stuff like that, and talked about it. But what can be done on either libertarian end or Black Guns Matter to do more consistent local type outreaches and stuff like that?
Yeah, this is a very hard part. You are absolutely correct. And if you've noticed what I've been doing since after the election, I've been traveling throughout the state trying to touch every single county to build out local county organizations. Right. You are absolutely right, my friend. That's the next step for this state. It is actually having vibrant local groups that can do things like support Maj when he comes over, right? They can help support a Black Guns Matter event. They can do that kind of thing at a local level. They have the connections locally. They can make sure people show up. Absolutely. I think the answer is literally going locally and building out. In my view, look, I'm biased. I think the party is the answer. I think we build out local party affiliates, and the party affiliates will know who the registered libertarians are in the individual areas. They will have a good email list. They will have a good social media presence, and they will make sure people are taking. I mean, tonight we've had a bunch of phone calls. We've had people who are going back and forth. Why? Because of what we built, right? I built during the actual campaign, right? Out there talking. People know they show up. I feel like that's the answer.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. It's no different than when we do BGM classes. Having an attorney, a lawyer, an attorney, a trainer, instructor, a ranger, whatever, in that actual locality that already is in the community and bringing the people to the community, bam, that's like an instant infrastructure. Bam, then we get these cells all around the country. And then now those people can start, and they're in this particular region. Oh, Maj, you know anybody in such and such? Yeah, what part of Florida you in? Oh, I got a guy in Orlando. I'm in Miami. Okay, I got a guy in Florida and, Miami and Orlando. And then those local spots start to build together and you create the network.
Absolutely.
I think that, the party's 1972, which isn't a very long time, especially in comparison to the other, these guys is hundreds of years old.
Right.
You know, and so I think that's actually the answer too. And I see how it's scalable.
Right.
I see how it's the same thing. You know what I mean? It's just like we have an advantage actually. One, because we're building a party during a time in the information age where more people are going, yeah, like I said earlier, some people is like, nah, I don't know about this mainstream. I think they lying about this. I'm really not feeling these quote unquote two major parties. I'm not really feeling them. And we have the ability to spread a message infinitely faster.
Yes. Well, there's another piece I want to add to this. And I hope this is also clear to you too. There's also an idea of consistency.
Yeah.
Right? I've built out businesses before. I've built out platforms before. And when you build them out, what you have to realize is, as a general rule, when they first start, they fail.
Yeah.
Right? And you've just got to keep doing it. When I ran my campaign, this is a true story. The first event I did had one person at it.
Wow.
I showed up to a diner. There was one guy there. So my body man, his name was Zach. He was upset. It's like, that's it. I'm out of here. So he walked away. I had lunch with the guy.
Right.
That was my first event. I'm doing air quotes here. That was my first event. It was one guy who showed up.
Yeah.
So I just had lunch with him. We sat down, we had lunch. That was my first event. And before you know it, I was getting 100 people, 200 people. It got bigger, right? But I had to be consistent. People had to realize.
And you're getting more people in the Bronx now too. I've always wanted to go out to those meetings, but it's like, my schedule has not allowed me to. But certainly, I'm seeing that you're getting more numbers out there.
Right.
Oh yes, the Bronx party's an actual party
here
now.
in Manhattan. Right.
Yes.
People really respond well to that message, and especially when you expose the contradictions going on in politics right now, they're like, yeah, you're right. Like, this makes no sense whatsoever.
Yep,
absolutely.
That we're following these two parties. It's just they contradict themselves, and they're not representing the people at this point, either one of them.
I agree completely. I want to say
people just need to have open dialogue where they can talk about the issues directly amongst people and realize the spectrum of belief that's in between these two ends,
No, I get it, and I want to say thank you for the call. I really appreciate it.
Sir, all right. Keep it up.
Have a good night.
All right. You too.
All righty. I want to grab another call if I could. I know I'm trying to get them all off before the show ends. So I want to grab someone from you at an event in Chi-Town.
Yeah,
right?
that was a couple days ago. And,
there we go.
Yeah, yeah.
So Eli is on the line. Eli from Chi-Town, how are you?
Good. What's going on, guys?
Yo, what's up, E?
Hey, what up, much? I just wanted to thank both of you again. For like a big influence for me. Can you guys hear me?
Absolutely. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. I just let you know that you guys have been a big influence for me, and just the way that you guys make every topic so simplistic.
Did you just insult us?
So no, but the thing I want to talk about is like when I was with Maj like this past Saturday at the Economist event. After the panel, we were in the back room. We were chilling, and this wonderful Muslim sister came about and then asked Maj just a question. From that moment on, it was just like it was more captivating how it came out, how it first turned out, and then at the end of it, I just wanted Maj to explain what happened in that day.
Okay, so, Maj, tell us a story.
So this was a sister that after we did the round table, for 20, 30 minutes. She came in the back and she asked about, well, did you know what the founding fathers meant really when they did this whole Second Amendment thing? And I'm like, yeah. And I kind of don't care because I know if you go that, well, they didn't mean it for you. Okay, cool. They didn't. But that's codified human nature. You know what I mean? These are birthrights. I have the right to defend myself regardless.
Was her point because we were slaves? Was that her point?
Kind of going that way, or in essence saying that she felt like it would be more impactful to ban guns and stop people from having them as opposed to educating people about having them. And I'm like, yeah, in that space, I said, well, what do you do with the guns that are already here? Well, they shouldn't be here, but they are.
That's correct. I love that one, but they shouldn't be in the first place. I love that all the time.
But they're here.
Yes.
So what are you going to do then? Well, do you don't think your efforts should be to, again, you're going back to that circle. But the beautiful thing, and I think it's the point of what Eli is saying is, Rhonda Ezel was there. Eli was there. Janine was there. Josh was there. she had so many different perspectives of people from a loving and supportive way. And even me saying, sister, I get it that you're a Muslima and I feel that, but a weirdo will still try to rape you.
Sure.
You know, I want you to have the means to protect yourself if that ever arises.
People don't realize that a firearm is an equalizer.
Right.
They don't realize it.
And so, you know, even down to Janine saying to her, well, what do you feel about the Black Panthers? Because she came from a perspective of, you know, white people are evil and they're white racist people that have guns and we should get the, and I'm like, so how do you take the gun from the racist, the evil racist? And, you know, Janine brought up, hey, well, what do you think about the Black Panthers? And she's like, the Black Panthers were awesome. Well, what do you think about the Deacons of Defense? They were awesome. So how is that any different than what we're doing with Black Guns Matter?
Absolutely, same thing.
And we're saying to her, and I'm like, she's like, well, and I'm like, no, these organizations were still talking about the Second Amendment. And she's like, well, they didn't mean it for you. And oh, great, maybe they didn't. I don't care. And having, you know, Miss Ezell, Rhonda Ezell has won 2 federal cases. The reason why people in the city of Chicago can have gun ranges and gun stores in the city limits is because of Rhonda. She was there and she brought, you know, she's older, so she had a different perspective. And towards the end, this young lady was like, man, I just never thought of it that way.
Yes, I get that often.
That culmination of things, and that after the panel and after that, we was all just hanging out. And it was beautiful.
This is what you just, which I love. This goes back to our first piece about you want to talk to the person who was against you.
Right.
Because, you know this, right? The most zealous are the converted.
Yep.
So every time you see 3 people who are against you, that's an opportunity for 3 zealots.
Yep.
And I might only get 1, but that's 1 zealot.
Yep.
And I had none. Now I got 1.
Right.
I mean, people come to my events, and the thing I love about my events that I do now is I'm not running for anything. And I'll still get 15, 20 people to show up. And often people who didn't vote for me, which is, I love that. I have people who show up and they've got notes. Oh my God, I love that.
Right.
Oh my God, that's I brought questions. And I'm like, yes.
Yeah, I got
awesome.
you.
Because what I know is that person's buying my swag that day.
Yep.
I'm 100% sure they're buying a sign or a shirt or a cup. They're buying something if they show up with a piece of paper saying, I got questions. Because that person actually, what they're actually telling me is, I doubt my current worldview. That's what they're actually saying. They're saying, I doubt my current worldview. And when you tell me that, I'm good.
Right.
Because that means you're going to hear what I have to say.
Correct.
And I'm not going to be mean to you. I'm going to be nice to you. I'm going to be polite to you.
And I'm
going to hear it. And I'm going to give you some real answers.
That's what happened on the actual panel, because you can be passionate about something. And the moderator was like, well, I just want to, and I'm like, no. These are my brothers.
Yes.
This is my sister. We're still trying to get, now they may not view me the same way because I'm destroying them on the stage or their current matrix. I'm like trashing that. That's got to go. Like, that's just what's going to happen.
Right.
But I'm still going, this is from a place of love and information.
Right. Yes.
And even reaching out, we shaking hands. Hey, sister, I appreciate you for being here. It does not, when you play chess, again, I tweeted this earlier. The person on the other side is trying to trap and kill you.
Sure.
I don't knock the chessboard over because I know that you're trying to trap and kill me.
Right.
I play the game. I respect your moves. I make my moves. I actually win and convert them to be sitting on the side of the board with me when I beat them with that smile, because we're just playing a game of chess.
Right.
And so for me, it's like it's easier to do that. And what to Eli's point, that was a beautiful scenario there. And we talked about this too, especially having 2 women there as well, because we've had classes that we've done. There was a lady when we did USC, Southern California. She came with her husband, and the husband knew, like, he didn't have really she was anti-gun. And she wound up leaving, cussing us out and everything. And I initially was like, yo, she was like, do you want me to leave? And I'm like, no.
No, I want you to stay and tell your friends.
Right.
Yes.
But
absolutely.
she couldn't get past the fact that I'm not yelling at you.
Yes.
I'm going to tell you where you're wrong.
Yeah, but you broke her preconceived narrative.
Right.
And she did not like that.
Right.
And she had to get out of that area.
And now, to the point of, I wish, because it was even though it was a small event it was like a private classroom because it was a college campus.
Right.
At that moment, I wish that there were more women at the table.
I always wish there were more at the table.
You know what I'm saying?
I always wish it.
Because
that's one of other problems other problems that we have.
Right. It's every
we have
guy.
A lack of females.
It's all of the guys, and it's her as the one wife. Even if we not coming with that energy, it's a defense mechanism.
100%. I agree.
So at this one that Eli's talking about, it was Janine and an elder that are both saying similar things from a feminine energy, feminine perspective that she could receive a little bit easier.
Of course.
And it was really dope. It was really
Eli,
dope.
I want to say thank you so much for that call. I appreciate that.
Thank you, guys, and Maj, man. I'm telling you, good luck on that tour on California, man.
No doubt.
There we go. All right, guys, did you liking what you're hearing? Guess what? This costs money. Support us. Head on over. Patreon.com/SharpeWay. Do it now. Come up with some cool swag. You don't want to pay, but you just want some cool swag? Go to sharpeway.com, hit swag. You can get a cool shirt. You can get a cool mug, all kind of cool stuff, bumper stickers. Support this. It's very important. Maj, I want to say thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Amazing that you came over. This was a great conversation. I'm so glad that you were here and you took the trip. Thank you. I know you got more stuff going afterwards. I'm going to get you out of here so you can do your other stuff. Yeah. I appreciate that. And everybody else who's listening, thank you so much. I will see you guys here.
Oh, can I plug the...
Oh, plug away, please. Listen. Oh, my God. Yes, plug away.
Maj for Philly. I need everybody's support. The election is November the 5th of 2019. MajForPhilly.com.
Shame on me for not doing that. MajForPhilly.com. Please go ahead, support him, particularly if you're in Philly. Yeah. But even if you're not, this is a man we need in our party. He's making moves. He's running. He's sacrificing to do a lot for our movement. Let's support him. And I will see you all next week here at the Sharpe Way.